Varimini, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Penduka, today our guest, man. Please welcome one of the most controversial lawyers, the most opinionated lawyer we have in this country.
Yeah.
Advocate
No. Also the most handsome.
Did I forget that?
Yeah. Ike is like, you know the guys who went to vets and roads. They'll always somehow in the conversation say, oh yeah, when I was at vets. Oh, when I was at roads.
Yeah.
So it's always like, yeah, by the way, I'm the most handsome jurist in the country. What do you, handsome. You can't forget that, dog.
Brian, welcome to the show, man. A lot of chillers have been asking for us to get you. Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. At last I'm here. But I was afraid to come here. I was hoping that you don't call me. But I'm a polite person. And, I had to come when you called me yesterday.
Yeah.
Because like I told you, hey, these guys here, they're like those, criminal, attorneys. They will cut you and set you up and, and then on the psychology part and just bang when you least expect. And I don't want to get into trouble with my exes. And they're always coming. You're talking about me. Anyway, and, I'm happy to be here at home. And I must tell
shout out, Bryce.
The viewers in Makaya, I finally see you Ghost. She is what I imagine her to be. And
for real?
Imagine.
she's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah, so... And,
We don't like grenades on the network, It must be beautiful.
Yeah, I
No
know.
grenades.
Yeah, no. It's a requirement. We don't have HR for a
But
reason.
I'm sure the viewers and the listeners, they can hear,
Yeah, from the warmth.
they once asked Steve
As if
Kekan,
they hear.
they were asking her about the wife. She said, my wife is beautiful. And they asked Steve Kekan, how do you know? And he said, when, she was introduced to him and he listened for my footsteps. He said, there's a way how beautiful women walk.
I like to play.
They don't just walk, Yeah. Even with voices, the way it comes, calculated. Yeah, it's just that voice from the multiracial school. Tina Splume Lokshin.
For those who don't know, Advocate Ike Kumala is a lawyer majoring in labor, international law, environmental law, constitutional law, an advocate of the High Court. He was the campaign officer of SA from 2005 to 2012.
Yeah. I started in the arts,
Yeah.
I'm a failed actor.
Wait, there's a creative workers union.
Yeah, the Creative Workers Union. We started when we were Power, Performing Workers Equity.
Whoa.
Yeah, I joined, earlier on when there was still Babo, Braken Camp, Babo Simon Mapela, back in the days. And Abu Mahlatin has just died at that time.
Yeah, Mahlatin's also from the East, right?
Yeah, I had a promising career, but because I like, activism, immediately I just joined in the unions. I asked, wherever I went, I always ask, what are the struggles that are troubling people? Then I joined. And unfortunately, because I talk too much, I'm in the forefront and the next thing I'm fired. And we fought for almost all the black directors that came. Post 1994, from Abu Silomake, Bonkwisheng, back in the days, because we used to go to SABC, and force them with, what, we need black producers, we need black directors. What's the unfortunate part of it?
What?
After these guys, they were incorporated or they were absorbed into the system. They fired us.
Oh,
they never gave us jobs. All the guys in the union, Abu Prakit, Abu Japan, because we used to fight Abu generation. Why are guys, bringing their scaftins? Why are they shooting Amautropo? So we used to fight for all those things, contracts.
Because I first came across you, I think a few months ago, you were doing, it was on the Hustlers podcast with DJ Spoo.
Yeah, with DJ Spoo.
He brings the numbers there.
Yeah, you were doing a debate with Nota. I'm like, this is interesting. And then that's how I
I've known DJ Spoo back in the days because we used to be in the same agency, acting agency. Yeah, before it was DJ Spoo, there's a...
Wait, is another name? No, that's after.
What? I'll remember it now. Yeah, so we used to do Tuna Makemi Road and Generations, so that's where I've known him from,
How do you know Braik?
No, I also know him from Spoo. Shout out to Spoo's podcast. Now, literally, I've never heard of Braik, nothing. Then from Spoo's podcast and from Spoo's podcast, then I went to Twitter and I've seen he's been very active on Twitter. But obviously without a huge platform like Spoo, which brought, because to me it was like, how is this guy this guy is an attorney. You know, like what Dalimbofu does.
No, more of an advocate than.
No, attorney, advocate. Yeah, Dalimbofu is an advocate. He's an advocate, but the thing is, it's very rare to find extremely not extremely, but really successful people like lawyers, advocate, who go in public, speak their mind.
Yeah, and their truth.
Like their truth without fear of what you're gonna lose, because there's so much to lose. You know,
People don't want to be cancelled.
Yeah, people are so scared of being cancelled, especially when they've worked so hard to accumulate stuff. So already when somebody says, I'm an advocate, it's like, you know what it's like?
You know that they'll be censored.
Yeah, it's like seeing a fit person. You know that this guy, 9 o'clock, they're always at the gym, or someday there's a discipline to it.
Yes.
Look, but also so open.
Look, I've got views, and most people, they don't take my views very well. And some people...
a lot.
Yeah, some people don't brief me. I don't care, you know. I'd rather have, you know, an opinion, be hated for what I'm not, than to be accepted for what I'm not.
Yes. Hated for what you are, than accepted for what you're not.
Some of us have been active since the 80s, man. If we fought, you know, one of the most powerful states in the world, why would I be afraid to go to, you know, somebody won't give me work? I mean, I've lived in almost all suburbs, and I lived in Cape Town, and there's always a room there.
Yeah. You'll never like go homeless.
When it all fails, I go back, you know. I sell everything. I sell the cars, you know. And I'm single at that time. I tell women, listen, I'm still, you know, putting things together. You know, don't bother me. And you know what's the funniest part?
What?
Sometimes, you know, when you tell women to leave you alone, that's where they chase you. You know, women nowadays, the modern women, they want that guy who doesn't care.
Generally,
if you push too much, I'm telling you, the guy who takes after 24 hours. And me, they want him. I always, you know, win, you know, when I'm the bad boy. When I try to be the good guy,
you never win.
You finish last.
And unfortunately, because, you know, there's a bad wolf and a good wolf, and sometimes I choose the good wolf. Look, you know, we love hard. We face first, you know.
Bro.
And I don't know how not to laugh. If you text me now, I respond immediately. But apparently, that's a weakness.
Yeah, you know what it is.
If
you must act busy, act like guy. You are nothing to me.
Baby, where are you? I must say, no, I'm busy. If I'm available, I say, no, I'm coming. But unfortunately, you know, that, you know, he will make people to take you for granted. Unfortunately.
True.
We got so many questions that we want to ask you, because you've made some wild comments on podcasts, social media, and stuff like that.
Dude, wild assertions.
But before we get to that, make sure you elevate your betting game with Easy Bet, the only sports betting site, giving you a massive 150% first deposit match up to 1,500 rands. That's not all. Easy Bet brings you best soccer odds plus hundreds of hotter slots, cash, and live dealer games. Here's the kicker: you'll get a 50 rand sign-up bonus, absolutely free, no deposit needed. But the real game changer is Easy Bet is the only site that gives you 15% cash back on your losing bets. Nowhere else will you find that. Don't miss out. Join Easy Bet today and use the promo code MacG50 to claim your 50 rand welcome bonus. That's MacG50. Easy Bet Group Pty Ltd is licensed and regulated by the Eastern Cape Gambling Board. Gambling is only for persons 18 years and older. Winners know when to stop. All right, so let's start with the shits, man. The whole country, we all glued to the Matlanga Commission.
Hey, bro.
Yes.
Bra Ike, with your history, you know, your freedom fight, like you said, you've been around since the 80s doing this thing. What's your take, man? Are we living in a mafia state? What are your thoughts?
We've always lived in a mafia state. South Africa is a crime scene, man. It has been a crime scene since 1652. I mean, we've been told, you know, we've been colonized by the people of Holland, the English. But in essence, we are never colonized by nations. We are colonized by companies, the Dutch East India Company. And hence, most people in a white monopoly capital. I don't believe that we have a white monopoly capital. We have a Zionist, you know, capital, which has colonized us, because you go to your history books, the Dutch East India Company, the British West India Company, all these companies, like the Anglos of this world, these are the companies who captured Europe. They captured the youth of Europe. They enslaved the youth of Europe. They sent them here. The people who were sent here, they were not successful people in Europe. Those were criminals. They were criminalized in Europe. You drop a cigarette, stompy, they say, go to Africa, go to Australia, go to America. Because at that time, Europeans, they were scared to come to the dark continent to Australia. It was like going to the moon. They didn't know what to to expect that side. So they sent people, the voyagers, people who had nothing to lose. These companies, and who captured, Holland or the Netherlands, who captured English speaking people. And that's why they had to manufacture false history. Like I normally say to people, a guy like Jan van Riebeeck. Jan van Riebeeck is a pseudonym. It's a guy that never existed. You can't point me the grave of Jan van Riebeeck. In Holland, they don't know the guy. In Cape Town, they don't know the guy.
Whoa.
The same as Jesus. Once you start saying Jesus never existed, black people get crazy because we're so touched. We believe in Jesus. We always want a Messiah. Even now, darkies, they want a Messiah. We want somebody to, rescue us. We want a Moses. Even now, they want us, him to rescue us instead of us doing something. Unfortunately, in the 80s, we took matters in our own hands. When Oliver Tambo said, make this country ungovernable, he was sitting in London, with our enemy, Queen Elizabeth, being secured by our enemy. But us in the streets, we took matters into our own hands. That's why we had to invent Thabo necklace, which were necessary at that time, impimpiashis, So unfortunately, in the modern day, politics, you no longer have those people, who are willing to go into the streets and fight. But I hope, when these puppets are fighting, something, will come out. As they say, when two devils fight, something will come out. I believe, personally, you check Madlanga Commission, you check the ad hoc, I don't believe entirely that these people, when they unleash death on each other, is to our benefit. Yes, we benefit, but by the way, I mean, if you listen to Mkhwanazi in Parliament, he said, I've got debt on all of you. I mean, debt is bad. It's prosecutable. I'm sure there are charges on all of them. He said, I've got debt on all of you. Don't think that the WhatsApp messages, they disappear. I mean, under normal circumstances, then they should retrieve those WhatsApp messages and arrest these guys. I want to know what Julius has been doing.
And release the dirt in front of them.
Release the dirt in front of us and trust us. I want to know what Jacob Zuma has been doing since 1994. I want to know what Thabo Mbeki has been doing since 1994. All of these guys, all of a Sunday, they are billionaires. Do they fight for Zinhle Mbeki? Do they fight for Cyril Ramaphosa? No. We fought for us so that we are all free. But it seems as if this struggle was for a few people like Tokyo, Muzik. I didn't know these guys. Most of them, they collaborated with apartheid states. Most of them, they were in homelands. You talk of the Lomos of this world. You talk of the, them daughters of this world. Their fathers. Some of them, they were part of the Bantustan. And when you say that, people get angry, and majority of the black people, they lost their farms. My grandfather, we lost our farm when Isco took the farms in Dundee. Yes, we lost our farms. Where there's coal mine, it used to be my great-grandfather's farms. We never got it back. But those who collaborated, they retain their assets. Remember, as darkies, there were darkies who were never affected by apartheid. I think in KZN, Bawabi Amazemtit, they exempted blacks. There were blacks who were allowed to carry guns. There were blacks who were allowed to do certain things.
After his cut to go back to the township, Matompasi, it didn't. They were exempted from all the rules.
Yes, and even businesses, they got into other business spaces, where other blacks were not allowed to do that. They lived in certain suburbs. And long before Group Areas Act, was abolished. So unfortunately, that's where we find ourselves.
So when we say we are in a mafia state, what does that look like according to you? And who are the kingpins?
Sometimes I don't want to discredit mafias. At least with mafias, they came out of necessity. If you check the Italian mafia, the Jewish mafia, these are guys who went to the States. Majority of them, they were poor. Yeah. And when they got in there, because opportunities were, were not available to them, they started to run parallel systems. And
when alcohol got banned, then they put bootleggers
and all
the
that.
Italian mafias.
Yeah, but they were not stealing, the public purse, from the poor, unlike these ones. These ones are stealing. You know, you've got to Tembisa Hospital, maybe also Hillbrow Hospital, maybe in all these hospitals. They're taking from the poor to buy the Lamborghinis, to buy, you know, alcohol, to buy
Lamborghinis. to get Instagram girls.
Yeah, I mean,
mamas.
Yeah, by now we should be having companies where maybe you say, I know that 2,000 people are employed here by Tutuzana, by Saudi, you know, but you don't see that. You know, you see people flaunting, buying Louis Vuittons. Actually, they're taking the very same money to the Europeans.
Living to the fullest.
Unfortunately, so I can't even call them mafias, because mafias, at least, they've got some sophistications. These ones, I mean, come on. Where have you seen when somebody, Gucci? We don't dress like that, you know? Once you see a person...
That's true.
I know.
That's true. Even the rich guys, though.
Yeah, even Kat Matala, I mean, once you start wearing shoes, like, you know, sweat shoes in China with, you know, come on, I can't dress like Pig Zulu, yeah, like I was Java. Wow, ubona uthi ba ke Mongol, wayibona ke Mongol mfethu ka wena ka nyuke kana mfethu uka se apari Louis Vuitton le bantala teng like bo mamkhizi mamkhizi wabona ke dipari mfethu nyuke ya ba ifrostane yabo la wazama ubuya sikhowa utla sikhowa sa teng mfethu model sika Zulu accent, guys look at me wabona nje uthi and ba like ke dipari mfethu le Cyril wa mona vaya ke pari mfethu kokasi, let me tell you, levaya wabona kokasi nona litleva mfethu shanka kiss yabona kiss adicleva wayibona levaya. Well, I can't imagine yabo ya Cyril nkarunetsi kipula. Come on, I don't imagine Cyril nako shawela champa mangalana ya ka rako strat una le bo boy parde. You know kokasi nona le bo boy parde bomzwandile malkas. A guy will beat you up as a journalist. Good, you wrote Pirates beat Swallows. How do you survive in that? Good nabo Godfrey Mloyi. Not only clever. So some of these guys, they were parachuted, you know, babanka, you know, exempted, baba Kenya da, baba Kadi yellow dog, you know, and all of a sudden they just come up, you know, with umbrellas, you know, Mandela Watch or Gochele, and then all of a sudden they are now celebrities. Bo Rihang Moseneke, Bo Patricia Tilele. Some of these guys, I look at them. Rihang was very unpopular in the PAC. I've been both in the PAC and the ANC. You know, most of the guys, I know them from, you know, way back. You know, they were ninkampoons, but now now, unfortunately, now you find a moho no met child. The clever little diamata, the ice boy. Now gets in ice boy. Now I've met almost anyone and everyone who thinks that is somebody in this country. Rich guys, wealthy guys.
And I'm trying to understand the hierarchy of it all. Like who's at the top and then who's
running shit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
in the country.
Let me tell you. Once you start seeing people, like the other time we had Bob Hersoff.
Yes, Rob Hersoff.
Yeah. Once you start seeing them going to all the podcasts, the interviews, you must know Rautunyi is a runner. Yeah, I mean, the guys who've got, you know, the power, you don't see them.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't show up. Even when they dress, you know, they will dress something without a label. You'll see okay quality. I mean, for an example, let's take the open hammers. Where have you seen the open hammers doing interviews?
Zero. I don't
the only time you saw them
having dinner, bro.
The only time you saw them, it's when Chief Mangosuthu was laid to rest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he was their chief puppet. You know, Mangosuthu was their chief puppet. That is true. Inkatha was a problem in the townships.
Yes.
You know, Inkatha was against the masses. When you said stay away, Inkatha was saying no. When you said I'm struggling, it was saying no. It was always oppose us. When you said Azikwela, it was the Zulus in the hostels, you know, who were killing students. That we cannot shy away from.
Yeah.
I was surprised now by 91 it became IFP. I said, since when Inkatha fought for freedom? There were very few of us who fought for freedom. I hear sometimes people saying, you know, blacks fought for freedom. Even in Islam, there will be one there, you know, another one there. It's just that we had influence. When you said stay away, when you said the schools, they must shut down, we had influence because we had the power of the nucleus. Or, you know, Mpimpi Raichis, and we had Winnie Mandela supporting us. And that's why Winnie Mandela, nobody can make me hate Winnie Mandela because she was with us. All these guys, they disappeared. They were afraid.
So you're saying it's the Oppenheimers of this world, the Ruperts at the top?
You've got your Oppenheimers.
Okay.
I mean, the Rupert, they were also made by the open-namers.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Zionist guys, you know, that's why, you know, when you start saying the Jewish guys, and everybody gets, afraid because they're going to cancel you, even in the entertainment sector.
Yeah, they run the world.
I know, I've been cancelled, even in the entertainment. I was a successful model. I was, trying, acting, and then because I was talking too much. And it is the very same Jewish guys, the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, they start writing articles. They call you anti-Semitic, and then you are cancelled off the side. And the saddest part, they're not even Jews. I mean, I've learned in my history that, the Jewish people, there are 14 million in the world, 14 million plus. And all of them, they are fake. But unfortunately, people can't say that. All of them, they've never been. Yeah?
How are they fake? How is a Jewish fake? Yeah. If there's 14 million, I'm assuming they have sex with one another and they give birth to Jewish kids.
I mean, these guys, they emerge in the Caucasus Mountain in the 580s. They've never been to Africa. They've never been to Palestine. They look because they didn't want to be under any empire, because in the Far East, already the Muslims were established. Yeah. Europe, it's Christian. They wanted to be a dominant force on their own. So they concocted the history of their own. They said, okay, let's go to Africa. They looked, go Africa, and they stole our history. I mean, in Egypt, when people saying, especially Christians, when they say the Egyptians, they were enslaving the children of God, I get surprised, especially if it's blacks, because at that time, the Egyptians were black. Cheikh Anta Diop, I think from Senegal, has proven that. Yeah. The Egyptians were black. The people who built the pyramids were black. When you say they enslaved the children of God, I mean, you're simply saying black people enslaved the people of God. And there's never been the case. They've never been expelled in Israel or Egypt. It was always us, even in Middle East. That's why when people talk of the Palestine and these Zionist gangs, I don't take a side. Actually, the struggle should be between Africans and both of them, because there was never a Middle East. Long before the Suez Canal, you go to East India, it was always East Africa. So black people were, exterminated, same as with Argentina. So these people,
Argentina,
South Arabia, they're having oil that is not even theirs. It should be Africans' oil. So I don't take a part.
But let's bring it back to the hierarchy. I really want to know the hierarchy. So you've only given us one layer. Below them, it's
these guys are internationalists. That's why you heard Abo Rothschild. I mean, Botava Manuel, Butito Mboweni, they've worked for companies Abo Rothschilds. They've worked for Abo Rockefellers. I mean, Abo Kinsinger, they used to come here. That's why even, I think, 94, the Afrikaners didn't want Kinsinger to come here, because these are power makers. There are so many. Bomenel, politicians, they've mentioned all those. There are those that you'll never know, because they're quiet. I mean, you check the Reserve Bank. You've got check Reserve Bank. You've got about 600 private owners. You don't know all of them.
What's up
and they have a private shareholding in our Reserve Bank. Nobody knows. No, you don't know where our money is printed. So.
How does it benefit us that the Reserve Bank is privately owned?
I mean, these guys, they've got an influence, because the Reserve Bank, my understanding, they determine the interest rate and, all that. And for me, I believe that, under normal circumstances, each and every country should have the monopoly to print its own money. I mean, you check most Reserve Banks, they're privately owned. I mean, before the fall of Libya, there were about 5 countries that had a reserve bank that was national, was owned by the people. I think it was Libya, Sudan, North Korea. But 5 countries, I think Cuba as well is also there. But all other countries, like America, the reserve bank is privately owned. So the government loans money from private citizens, and they give the government money with interest. So if they give you R1, and they give you, let's say, for an example, and say, here's R1, South African government, you must pay me 30% interest. You'll never repay that debt, because there isn't enough money in circulation to pay the interest. For every rand, if there's 30, let's say there's only R1. or 10 rands in the country, and I give it to you and say, pay me interest, where are you going to get the interest? Because you don't print money. So it means that the economy is always tilted against someone else. If you put 10 chairs here, you take one, somebody's going to fall. So the economy, like a pyramid scam, someone is bound to go bankrupt.
If we print our money, doesn't that devalue the actual value of the money?
If we
print, or if every country could print their own money. So America lends you 100 million and we just print 100 million and pay them back. Doesn't that, because to me that sounds too good to be true. There has to be like a downside of it. Don't we lose value of the money?
That's why
in Zim they buying bread for $400 million, for example.
Yeah, what happened?
That's why for now I believe that a person like Gaddafi was trying to circumvent that. When Gaddafi was coming and say, money must be backed by something. So it cannot be backed by speculators, in the stock market and printed out of nothing. He was saying at least it must be backed by gold. You must use the gold standard. Like back in the days in South Africa.
It used to be like that.
Yeah, it used to be like that. For every rand, if it was printed on the money note. For every rand, if you go to the standard receiver, Reserve Bank, they will give you gold. So unfortunately, that's no longer the case. It's based by speculators.
Fiat money.
Yeah, today we are talking rand is supposed to be 7 rand, but for somehow it's shooting up there. So that's where we find ourselves. We run by these, you call them mafias. Yeah, they are far sophisticated than mafias, those who run us. But politicians, I don't credit them with being mafias. They are runners. They're just ice boy.
There's a picture, I think. It's our president. When Mandela came out, I think he had the umbrella, and you said something
Cyril
about...
Ramaphosa had an umbrella.
You said something about...
And nobody knew Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yes, I want to get there. So, if then our current president was parachuted, or there was always a goal to have him at the helm, did it start then? And why him? Why did they place him in a place?
He's a safe black. Remember, these guys, they don't just put anyone there, into these prominent positions, because there's always a payback. I mean, you check the colonialists, when they left Africa, when they put Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, they were not putting them there so that they can govern the country for the benefit of their people. They were putting them there, to safeguard their interests. Unfortunately, Kwame Nkrumah, they turned against them, then they were killed. Sankara came in by force, they were killed. Because remember, Europe at that time, it was bankrupt. Europe had faced 2 wars, and therefore they could not send soldiers in all the colonies. So therefore, they wanted clever blacks to safeguard their interests, like France. Cyril Ramaphosa comes in that. I mean, the ANC is a party of clever blacks. It was never established to liberate us. I normally say that from 1912, ANC is a project, I don't know, it's a failing project from 1912. These were blacks who wanted to be part of the system. They kept on saying to Britain, please, we are not like these other blacks. These ones are uneducated. I'm doctor, I'm Kuma, I'm Mahato, I'm Plachi. Put me into the franchise of South Africa. That's why ANC, you could not join ANC as a nobody. You had to be a king, a chief, a doctor, a pastor, and then you'll represent a constituency. Women were not allowed to join the ANC because they couldn't speak, they were represented. So they went in there, but they were denied. ANC even sent 5,000 men in World War I to help Britain to fight. They said in their letters, we've given you 5,000 men to die, for the crown, but you still don't recognize us. They wanted to be like Afrikaners. Afrikaners, they were securities or managers, managing the country on behalf of the financiers in Britain, those who have captured Britain, those who have captured Spain. So unfortunately, the ANC, they're occupying a security role. They're guarding their interests. They don't even own these mines. I mean, doesn't it tell you, if Donald Trump is threatening us with tariffs, under normal circumstances, we should be saying we've got minerals. We'll cut you off our minerals. He can't say that because Lone Mill is not ours. All these mines are not ours.
I mean, Lone Mill is London mining.
Yes, all these mines, they're not ours. They told us, 1994, Margaret Thatcher told us, negotiate, guys, but don't touch our minerals, or else we'll send British soldiers. They set up an army base in Botswana. So they've got an interest in this country, so you cannot touch, anything that has to do with, underground. Unfortunately, that's where we are. We are voting for the next puppet. I mean, if voting gave you power, do you think they would have allowed you to vote? We're voting, you know. We're just voting.
It's such a simple question, but it's such a simple question, but it's so
yeah, we're voting for people, but
that's true.
it ends there, you know. But beyond that, they've got nothing, you know, to help you. I mean, for an example, if the lobbyists, they give these guys monies, the multinationals, they give these guys monies, they control them, they tell them what policy to implement. Do you think that a man in the shacks has a power over Billy Gator, over a Rothschild? These guys, they go straight to your politicians. They say, listen, lock down your country or implement this policy. Go to WTO, shut down your manufacturing. And then a man in the shack, he said, by the way, aren't you surprised? We've got all these billionaires, black billionaires. They'll never support you. You've got your, you know, your bottle here. Why is it that they'll never put money there? Because they're also controlled. Motsepe will never come and say, you know what, I think I'm going to invest here.
In grandeur.
No, because he's also controlled. And you'll find that Rupert, they're also running, you know, a competition with you.
Rupert owns the luxury.
Yes, they own
luxury bottles,
anything you try,
cigarettes, everything.
Anything you try to start, they're also there. But he now wants to go to become a monopoly.
100%.
But
you want to create a tea, they own.
Yeah, but if you come, you say, you know, I want to set up a home for grannies, you know, children who are abused, they will support you. They will give you money because it works for their, you know, PR, you know. And it doesn't threaten them.
Because Papa, none of the Milli brands are owned by blacks.
Oh, no, nothing.
But we're the biggest consumers. Sleep over at a white family. They don't eat pap. They don't eat pap or bread.
Aromate, salts.
Yes, we consume that shit. Aromate, all the poison.
So all these decisions are taken somewhere. You know, when I first came in, you know, I said, I gotta be louder. Some of the things that I understand, I don't know everything, you know, at least I'm aware of that. But there are certain things, decisions that are taken on global scale. South Africa, 1994, we went to the international arena without local content. For an example, people in the streets, they become surprised that why is it that you no longer have manufacturing here? Why is it that you no longer have the seed? I mean, like now, if you plant something, it doesn't grow. Because you gotta get the seed, you know, from Russia, from America and all that. Back in the days, you took, you know, a peach, you put it under the ground, it grew. But because now it's genetically modified, you know, you are now being controlled, you know, food security, you don't have it. You know, manufacturing, not supported, you know, your government cannot even, you know, subsidize you. These are treaties. When you see Cyril Ramaphosa going to Mali or going to G20, signing something and say we've got a trade with Russia, we've got a trade, you know, according to the Paris, you know, climate change and all that, they're shutting down industries because all these treaties, they must also be ratified in our parliament, be implemented. For an example, we fought in the arts around 2003, the WTO, they wanted to take arts and put it with WTO. We said, no, we can't put arts into WTO because the rules of WTO simply saying it's a free market system. We allow all these companies to, you know, fend on their own. No government should support a manufacturer. It's a free for all. But China is supporting their own manufacturers by virtue that Chinese companies are 51% plus state-owned. And therefore, you cannot compete with China. And China has got slave labor because China simply say, come to manufacture in China cheaper. How do you compete with that? First of all, you are not even subsidized. Even Europe, you know, during the Mbeki era, they were supporting their farmers. America supporting their farmers. So Tina, we go to the international platform and we do everything that the globalists are telling us. China, they go in there, they listen. When they get home, they say, we're not dumping coal, we are pumping coal. Tina, we're dumping everything. And hence, we become surprised because we have a load shedding. You know, we become surprised because all the factories have closed down. People are not working. You know, we're going to be like Malawi now. We're country dependent on donations.
So what do you think about the BEE framework? Is it really meant to uplift the masses or is it like an elitist cartel?
And also, whose idea was it? BE. Was it really a black man's idea? Because there's an idea that it was just a white man's idea to say, oh, let's give a few of you a bit of change, and then you guys think you're all benefiting from it.
The BEE came because Mandela, when he came out of jail, remember Mandela was still fresh. The ANC, in the 80s and before that, it was aligning itself with Russia more as a socialist. They were always talking, we'll nationalize, we'll take mines. So Mandela, when he came out of jail, they asked him, how are you going to solve the black poverty? He said, we'll nationalize, mines. We'll nationalize all these key assets. He went to America, so he scared white people. In America and Europe, they were scared. They said, no, this guy, he wants to take everything. That's why in one of the meetings, it was shown on TV, Harry Oppenheimer was sitting with Mandela. I think Harry Oppenheimer even said it, that he's going to vote DP. It was DP that before it became DA. And then they said, these guys are a threat because they're going to destroy this economy. You must give them a certain percentage so that they can feel, a sense of ownership and they can defend it. I mean, if you go there, let's say the company, for argument's sake, it has Rupert, as Ernest Oppenheimer or Nicky Oppenheimer, and they give Tokyo 1%, not even, having voting powers. Once we want to take over that company, be it a coal mine, you'll find Comrade Tokyo saying, it's black-owned. Yeah, I can't touch it. You see, like they did. I mean, Ramaphosa is a clear example because he's there sitting on board, maybe getting a mere fraction of the percentage. And then when these guys don't want to work, they say, go talk to your people there, run. Tell your minister there that, Lone Mill must operate.
Bring the
concomitant action. Bring the police. So they're sitting there for that. That's why when they came up, now they come up with NAIL. Something like initiative. I can't remember the definition. Yeah. But three people who were prominent at that time. We're advertising it on TV. It was Dikgang Moseneke, Judgment Dikgang. It was Ntato Mutlana, the one who started Bolisedi Clinic. It was Mahanyele, Professor Mahanyele. The wife was the General Secretary, Deputy ANC. Those were guys who were, advertising it. They picked few blacks. They did not just pick anyone. They picked prominent people who've got a political clout. Not just Malambane from the streets. They picked Bonabo Ramaphosa because they knew that later they were going to use them. These guys, they don't just pick a guy in the street. They pick somebody that they're going to use, somebody who's got influence. If they've got Mbeki, they know that he's got an influence. Let me give you an example. Mbeki came out, he said he's not going to vote and campaign for ANC, because these are thugs. He was telling Ramaphosa. I'm sure they called to him in the morning. They say, Chief, wake up, you've got a campaign, or else your wife will lose all these things. You went in there, you've got mines in Zimbabwe. You've got mines, you've got mines all over. These guys, they've got mines, Bapepi, they're these multinationals. That's why they always preach open borders. These policies are killing us because they are with these capitalists. These capitalists, more Rupert, they want to go to Nigeria, they want to go to Senegal, and they've got shares in all over Africa. They're putting Bonnet Bank. So therefore, when you threaten foreigners this side to come here illegally, they also threaten that side. Like Nigeria, they'll always say MTN must go, we'll ban ShopRite, now they want a Cecil John Rhodes open border police. And hence you see these guys talking, let, the borders be open, which is nonsensical because Julius he's a fraud. If Julius lived in the 80s, we would have necklaced him with immediate effect. I'm telling you.
Yeah, because now, didn't he now just step...
I know South African politics. The unfortunate part with South African politics, we divided, alongside tribes. And people can try to deny it. Jacob Zuma is loved in KZN. That's why there was Woke Zulu Boy. I've never seen prominent Xhosas like John Kani and everyone criticizing Mbeki. They all think that Mbeki was the super messiah, even though the guy failed on all economic policies from PEE, which was changed to triple PEE, Kia became Maskisa, African Renaissance. The only thing that I remember that was good, from Mbeki, it was, I am an African. But all else, the poor became worse, HIV became worse, ESCOM became worse, and Mbeki, NEPAT became worse. Everything Mbeki failed. He's got a big mouth now, And you check, even Liluna, Cyril Ramaphosa, I've never had vendors saying, and one thing that I like about Cyril Ramaphosa, we all feel the pinch whether you're white, you were saying, Zuma, he's stealing the money. Because when you go to Woolworths, things are expensive. You go to Poor Petrol, they're expensive for all of us. If you're not a billionaire, we are not, the beneficiary.
What do you say, Julius is a fraud?
Come on, tell me. If, for starters, let me start at the beginning. If you're going to tell people to take land, where is the land that you took? If you're gonna tell people that they must take land when they see an open land, I can show him open land in Sandhurst, in Sandton, and when you follow all the banking protocols, you go apply for loan and even go further. You sit, where Mazoti is, and then you're fighting these guys. They've got the loot. He's not doing that, and he's somersaulting, and his minions they also somersault with him. First of all, he was pushing the Tutula line, and he changed. I mean, where have you seen a revolutionary supporting the vaccines, the lockdowns, which are spearheaded by the billigators? I've never seen, a revolutionary like Julius Malema, who's saying foreigners must come here. I mean, I've been a Pan-Africanist in my past life. I've been both in the ANC and the Pan-Africanist Congress. Pan-Africanism doesn't say that you must open your borders and the poor of other countries, they must come to your public hospitals, they must come take jobs. He's pushing for that. That's a globalist position. And once you start doing that, what's going to happen with South Africa in the next 20 years, 50 years, the demographics are dying. Our culture has been diluted. And we're going to have a Nigerian president with a flat head in future.
And his surname will be Buthelezi. Because it has started now.
Yeah, like all our cities have been taken over by illegal foreigners, people who never struggled with us. Our grandmothers, they used to clean these houses.
Bro.
They used to be called bopas. All of a sudden, the towns, the buildings are taken by foreigners. They proliferated into debt. And we've got movements such as Human Rights Commission being hijacked by foreigners because these guys, when they come, they go to universities, they study these soft degrees like human rights, constitutional law. I mean, you shouldn't study a course like constitutional law. It's so simple. They start there. They get into student movement, UNESCO, fundamental rights, human rights, and then they graduate into Chapter 9 institutions, and then they capture it. Or our universities, they get in there. When you find one Zimbabweans, they employ each other. UNISA, you can see, that all of a sudden, UJ start up using our kids, pass mark for sex. And our politicians are quiet. And they behave as if these guys, they treated us fairly in exile. They kept us in camp. I think, if I still remember, PAC lost about 17 of their members in Tanzania. They were shot by the army that side because they were protesting in camps. The conditions are not, livable here. KB Maspato was shot that side by the Uganda police. But they are not saying it. Tsietsi Mashinini was killed in Nigeria. Many of the comrades who left here, some they were raped. There were massive rapes. Many women who left, they were raped. Some they were even raped in the camps of the ANC.
Are you serious?
Come on.
It's not told, eh?
In the Douglas Commission, they mentioned that, some of the comrades, it's just that they're afraid to say, many comrades, some, they never came back. Ayanda Lodlo said it. I heard it. I know that she's denying now. She was on JJ's show some time ago. She said when they got to exile, they were given prevention pills first. They were given prevention pills first. So these guys... Many of them, they abuse their female comrades. They abuse some of their comrades. They killed, actually, I can say that, from the empirical evidence, I can say that the ANC, they killed more of their own than apartheid government killed them.
No way.
I'm telling you, where since 1961, MK was established, where is it where you saw that there was a battle, a skirmish somewhere between MK and South African Defence Force? No, it was always us. With stones. You've never seen that. These guys, they were a scam. Let me tell you how their scam worked. They're sitting in London with the imperialists. We're fighting British Empire. They own us. Oliver Tambo goes to sit in London. It's fine. You know what they did? They went from one country to the other and the next, asking for donation money, pretending to be fighting a war. When they were questioned, countries like Russia gave them lots of ammunition, said, guys, why are you not going to South Africa to fight? They will send one guy, they say, MacGyver, go via Swaziland. And they'll even bout Regel. And once you get arrested, you get killed by the Boers, they take the newspaper clip because it made breaking news. They go to United Nations, this country, they see, you see, siyasebenza. That's why they had that thing with how to make one, they were scamming these guys. So I don't take them seriously.
You once said that South Africa is not xenophobic. However, you feel like foreigners have too much freedom in this country.
Yeah, they have freedom that they don't even have in their own countries, especially the Zimbabweans and Nigerians. They are too loud. And they insult us all the time. And they're claiming benefits that they don't have in their own countries. These guys, when they come here, they should be scarce skills. We're not saying foreigners must not come to South Africa, but they must be legal. Foreigners started to come to South Africa during the discovery of gold, diamond. And even then, they came as amakundwane. Because remember, South African blacks did not want to work in the mines. They did not actually want to work for a white man because the white man has taken land, the land that, belonged to them. Like my grandfather would not work, go Isco. When Isco took his land, what do? They go to
neighboring countries.
Yes, they get these guys to come and work here. The Zulus would not work in the sugar canes. They brought Indians. They brought Malay to come and work. But Dakis understood, okay, we're all under British Empire, probably forced labor. They stayed here. Some of them, they married our sisters. That's why we call them Abosbali. But 94 came these ones, with entitlement culture, saying we helped you during apartheid. What time would Nigeria help us during apartheid? Because they were fighting their Biafra civil war for Somalia. And I'm surprised sometimes even your South African influencers, they love these guys, we're Nigerian, and when they come to South Africa, come on, some of them, they come from the villages, they don't even know what is a toilet. And then they come here, they treated them with kids' gloves. And when it comes to a South African, they lift the standard so high. That's why I'm telling you, if I were to get married and they whisper in my ear, your wife-to-be has dated a Nigerian, I'm calling off that wedding. It's now a POP. So and we know South African women, they don't start with foreigners. They go to foreigners once they're done. No South African player from the, start to play in Lesotho, Burundi. Once you start going to play in Swaziland, it means in PSL you've got injuries, you're finished. You go finish your career that side, and you never come back. You never come back. Once you go Africa, you never come back, my man. So for me now, once you go, but no is Congolese, I want nothing. There are some guys, once they hit a woman, I no longer want her. I don't care whether this woman is Miss Venezuela. And the people will say I'm hateful. Rachacha nesbat. Unalintwana saying, Mamari infetina lingwana, Aksaibat, Nix at yet, because Tintwana thing ya pap and Jitlun Troop and Jitlagon Trunyaka. So that's why I'm hated for saying all those things. I know that black women, they hate me with passion.
And what's your take on now foreigners can now take surnames of our sisters?
So it's Okonko Butilis.
That's nonsense. But it's difficult to fight that. There is no lawyer who can fight against that because they said it's unconstitutional. Because in terms of our constitution, men and women are equal. The Death and Registrations Act, it was stipulating, saying the child must take the surname of the father, which in terms of the constitution, in terms of the law, is discriminatory. Unfortunately, it overlaps with our culture. It gets into the culture and it changes certain dynamics.
What do you think about our constitution? Do you think it's too Western? Do you think we must go back to African?
It's the most nonsensical constitution that I've ever seen. That's why our constitution, it prays to everywhere. It's praised by everyone and anyone.
But us.
Where have you seen a constitution that doesn't define its people? Our constitution is an extension of a freedom charter. Freedom charter, which led to the split, the PAC from the ANC. Because the constitution says everyone. When you go to the Bill of Rights, it says everyone has got the right to access medical emergency health. Everyone has got the right to adequate housing. Everyone has got the right to education. Who is everyone? Because the Constitution of Zimbabwe,
doesn't cater for me as a South African.
It says a citizen.
It doesn't cater for
and it's difficult to become a citizen.
Yeah?
So once you jump border, I'm telling you, many people, they're coming, to our hospital. South African women don't have beds in public hospital because somebody comes from Zambia, goes to the Rahima Musa maintenance, maternity ward is there, and then deliver a baby. And most of these babies, they're born with defects because somebody has never seen a doctor. Coming 9 months later to our hospital. Some of them, they test positive. They've never taken, the medication that you're supposed to take as a mother if you tested positive, and we started to see that. And children born with defects, you go to our hospital on a Christmas day, when they say children who are born, on Christmas, 9 out of 10 are foreigners. And South Africans are not making babies at that ratio. And besides, Machitakas, we're no longer working. Because you told him one Mozambican guy, he's buying drinks for all these guys. So if you don't have money, you're not going to have a family. You're not going to, so you're not going to have a woman. You're not going to, with 350, what can you do with 350? So, 350. Our PEE guys are not creating employment. You don't know people are, I started Kosodi, from there I graduated. All you hear, I started go Pick and Pay, I went to this company. The very same guys that you say, Mabahambe, we work for them. The very same Americans, these politicians, what Julia says, let them go. We work for their companies. One thing about white people, be it Afrikaners, be it English, you may say that they are racist, but you'll be inside their company. That is who are saying, Pan-Africanism woke. Having nothing, they'll be buying Bo Pajani, Karaya 50 million. So for what good reason? So
I remember you once said that the National Party had psychologists as leaders and hence they defeated our politicians at CODESA.
Yes, these guys, when they came to negotiate, National Party, they put people according to their skills. If you go, you check, I still remember Rina Venter was a minister of health. She was a doctor. You go to Bogertfeld June, he's a minister in constitutional development. This guy's got a PhD, in that field. You go to de Klerk. Many of them, they were doctors, including the prison warder, who was moving with Mandela. If Mandela goes to post Robben Island, the guy, I think he had more masters. He studied more, psychology to deal Kabatu. But, they assigned him. But you know what? Now you're a prison warder, Mandela. When Mandela gets out, Lena, he resigns or he retires. So these guys, when they went to CODESA, they had valid demands. For an example, de Klerk went to CODESA. He said, land, non-negotiable. Property, non-negotiable. So why are you in CODESA? Because the people are there because their land was taken away from them. The kings who fought here, Busikukuni, then what are you negotiating? Apartheid is an after effect. It was not the cause. The conditions that we had, blacks, they had useless condition, abolishing of Group PRS Act, release of all prisoners, return of exile. Those things are automatic. When you negotiate, those things must happen naturally. Tina, we fought for things that even if white people gave you, nothing changes. Like now, people are fighting, saying, kill the poor, kill the farmer. Okay, let's say they say, sing that song. What changes in your life? Nothing changes. We have resolutions and demands that don't change our lives, An adult, Kokasi, is crazy about, dance challenges. I sometimes do them with my daughter. He's crazy about, here is you, Moban. Wamabotsa him fetu. How about Liverpool? We said, what is your benefit? Even now, there are so many people, even when the coronation of Mrs. Zulu, I saw people who suit. And then you ask a person, actually, what is your benefit? He cannot tell you what is the benefit of being Zulu. So, things that we pride ourselves. That's why I'm no longer Zulu. If I was, no, I cannot be under another man. I don't bow, before another man. But maybe because Mr. Zulu, he bows first. But he's not my king. He cannot be my king. No, come on. I respect because I must respect you as a person. But I can't do that visit. Come on, man.
You'll never miss Zulu.
I'm a free man.
He won't miss Zulu anytime soon.
Hey, it's good.
But there's been kings. There's always been kings.
King Yaman. King Yaman.
To whose benefit?
Okay, how am I benefiting from the king? And what is even worse, the very same king is under a premier, is under a local councillor.
I wanna ask you about the kings, right? Because there was a moment where the Zulu kings started dressing and looking like British cops, police. What's up with that, man? Because to me, that's like, right? There's a picture of Cyprian, the king. I think it was Uzwelithini's dad.
Yeah.
And even the grandfather. Now they were wearing
They captured to touch.
Ukatraya had to.
When he was
Ukatraya was arrested and had to go to England to plead with the Queen. And then he came in suits and now he's dressed funny.
Obviously, to dress him up.
Like to me, that was God.
Yeah.
They're
how
owned.
do we respect those
the
kings now?
Anglican, they are owned. Even the Anglican bishop, he's the one, who ordained Umisizulu. They gave him the ring. I mean, for an example, you can't be. For me, I find I find it odd. You can't be an African king and be Christian at the same time. You can't be both. For me, I know South Africans have adopted Christianity. We all started there, but Christianity is owned by Europeans. You can't tell me that Africans before Christianity and Islamic, they had to wait to know God. We knew God. We built structures long before, Africans wore cotton long before there was Europe. We civilized Europe. All of a sudden, we're taking their religion. And without even knowing where this religion comes from, without even knowing that Jesus, before 325 AD, never existed. Jesus was, created through a vote. But black people don't know that. They don't research that. Yes, vote. Before a vote, 325 AD, Constantine walks into a meeting of 318 bishops. He says, I'm sick and tired of you. You've been, spending a month not deciding and taking resolutions. Just from today, you're going to adopt Jesus. And it's there. You research the Council of Nicaea, all the resolutions. He says, that's from today. We're going to give Jesus genealogy. We're going to give him history. But before that, it was Serapis. Those who follow the Messianic movement, they worship Serapis. you check how the Romans, they formed Christianity. They gave it the Gospels, the 4 Gospels. And later on, until King James, came up with this Bible. King James was almost killed during the Guy Fawkes. King James who owned, Britain and, is it 2 countries? I forgot the other one, So... But darkies don't research. If you try to touch them on that, they will kill you in defense of these religions which enslaved us. Jesus. So, unfortunately, our kings, they're also owned by these British royal families. They also bow down. So, I also bow down to them. No, I bow down to myself. Nalako akena mogdulante, never bone a snap. Elisa Mandela, never bone a snap. Udula Sakamo, end of the story.
Speaking about darkies, he once mentioned that majority of black people are stupid. What did you mean?
Well, he literally has been saying that. We've been fed man-made religions. We've been fed leaders who are against us and pretty much look out for themselves, and we support them and kill for them. You've been saying that.
Look, I would say that, based on what I've already said here, we're not building. Look at Indians. Yes, they were given some, power and autonomy at some point, but they built from nothing. Us, let me go back and say, in the 1800s, if there was Imhotep, they built the pyramid, in the Nile Valley. These guys, they came up with writing, which are still there. The grave of Imhotep, they tell you, the tools that are there, top notch. Why is it that Shaka, Boskukuni, in the 1800s, they were still living in grass houses? While in Europe at that time, they had pavements. Probably, electrified streets. But us here, Shaka, the great king, one of the best, he was still wearing animal skin, living in a grass hut. And he even failed to do something about the British Empire. Because the British were already in Natal by 1820, at the peak of his reign. He did nothing. He knew about the supposed Jan van Riebeeck, who landed in 1652, he did nothing. And now you tell me, what is it that we've achieved in the last 700 years? Maybe before that, but in the now, I'm telling you, the only thing that we know is to dance, sing, and that's it. I've seen people during COVID, they were marching to Kaizer Chiefs village. They were saying they must fire the coach. At some point they marched with Bobby, and rightfully so, Bobby told them, this is a family business. This is not Inkatha. I was not voted here. He was telling them the truth. We are busy, on things that don't change our lives, And you check the Afrikaners. I can tell you, pound for pound, the Afrikaners, they did better than the ANC democracy because people went to school. We had everything that white people had. Those were under apartheid. I don't know about the homelands. I'm talking about people who were under administration, apartheid, the townships, Bo Soweto, Bo East Rand, Bo Soshanguve, I think they had to some point. The swimming pools, public pools, we had them. Sporting coats, all of them. We could send a guy, to Japan, Ali Karateka, Bo Kalamazoo. We produce people.
Yeah.
Bo Mirem Makeba. Not people who sing and go overseas and sing in brothels. I mean, Bo Kefa Siminya. That level, singing Nabo Harry Belafonte, in all respective fields, even cars, we had our own car. And even like the South African, there was Ranger, just that he was sanctioned. I think there was more than that. I mean, the South African army at that time, it was in the top 5.
Oh, we were top. Our airline,
everything was top.
Yeah,
but post-1994, we did not prove P.W. Botha wrong. We just became another African state, And teachers, you could see, this is a teacher. We are respected. Doctors, Right now, I can't tell you what is it that we do so well, as darkies. And come on.
What happened to, how did we lose our black excellence? Because you always hear that the oldest university was in Ghana, and then you realize that, then you hear that it was blacks, literally, Abantu Bafana Nati who built the pyramids. So how do we go from that excellence of having the first institution of education at a tertiary level, universities, Ghana, building pyramids, which till today remains a mystery, to being governments that fucking betray their people. Paul Biya is fucking 90 whatever too. He's gonna be a president till he's fucking 100. He can't even think. He can't even wipe himself. No, for real. No, for real. Cameroon is burning, bro. Cameroon is burning. Crazy right now. There's Cameroon is two sides.
Yeah.
It's the La République, which is the French francophone, anglophone,
yes.
And the anglophone guys, we find them in Hillbrow running into Nick face because in home they're being persecuted.
Yeah.
So that's what African leaders are known for. So how did we go from that excellence, being the pinnacle of excellence? Because you're saying when Shaga was walking around, balls dangling, wearing animal skin, they were already building pavements. So how did we then digress from being the frontiers of technology and doing all these great things to what we are now, which is a shame.
You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Before I come to these guys, in one class, sometimes the same school, same grade, you can find the smartest student and then you find the dumbest.
Yeah.
Same as in a family. Sometimes you might find that, first born, second born by excel, but the last born is a dunderhead. If we are all black family who participated in civilization, this is what I think. I think now we belong, to the slow ones. Because hell no, that there could be Bomapongwe, there could be civilization that was built thousands of years But here in the South, we couldn't write. And some they say no, because we're still on the run. You can't be on the run for 700 years, because we are long established here. But you could not write. Could not communicate better than we did back then. And I also think that the colonialists, when they left, they had a plan. That, they're going to elevate the puppets. And they also realized, an average man in the street wants soft life, doesn't want complications, doesn't want to fight. And then they put these leaders who are not going to, propel, the masses to revolt. you know. And now we find
So
ourselves.
we're the slow generation.
Yeah, we are the slow generation. Even now.
The dumb one.
Yeah. The people who are in all these
Under
political
the
parties.
leadership of those who are given pennies to have a comfortable
You check
life.
the youth in all the ANC, EFF, BOPA and all that. These are not people who want to change anything. They are waiting for their turn.
Yeah.
They want to be captured.
That's the youth literally joins politics now.
Yes,
to
they
eat.
want to be captured, not to change, you know.
Yeah.
To change things. We all want Lamborghinis.
Yeah, 58
Yeah,
million
sifuna
rand.
abantwana. Yabo, sifuna a nice life. Sifuna ukuhlala eSandhurst. So unfortunately, the colonialists know that. They just throw in money there. We start fighting amongst ourselves.
Peanuts food.
Let me get to the other things you've said, man, because there's so many, you know.
Man.
You also once said that black people rely on witchcraft too much. Hence, so many kids go missing. People use muti for love, jobs, etc.
Albinos
What I
disappearing.
said, I was talking personally.
Yeah.
I was saying, you know, as Ike, I've never been with a woman, a black woman who doesn't use muti.
Wow.
How?
Wow.
Our sisters love Inyanga.
Wow.
They love muti. They love traditional healers. It's a fact, you know. I've been there, you know. I'm telling you, got the Range Rover, and you know, you'll see them there following EQ, you know. And our sisters are easily deceived. And I'm telling you, when they want marriage, and once, you know, I know my worth. Pheli worth iyaphela nayo. Masayiphelile, I know my worth. And then they go and activate enyangeni. I normally say this. Yeah, I said that because people were accusing me. They say, we're not Ratamakhoa. No. You know, all these other nationalities. I've dated across, you know, everybody. But I like original things. You know, I can't date somebody who wears a weave. You know, sorry. Because you're beautiful.
Hey, that's why I fact check on
You know why? Because it's the same as when I meet someone on social media. Don't mind, they send me a picture of 2018. And when I finally meet the person, I says, no, this come out. That's answer weekly this thing because I want to see you, you know, without filters and all that, you know. And majority of them, you know, they wear these things, but they love them. And guys keep on saying no, you know. But I was saying in that most our sisters, and there is a basis for that, you know. I don't blame them because when we are young, we are introduced to these things, you know, as all our tribes here. When we are young, 1 year, when you're 21. So when things, you know, become, you know, heavier, you go back to your genesis.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they will tell you, why can't you see people? I trust myself because I don't want a situation where if I buy a car, I must run to Babunzimande somewhere else, I open a house. There are things that I can compromise if my family, they slaughter and all that, so that they don't blame me and say I did not participate. You know, if you're arrested, they say, Washa, I lose nothing. But I don't want to be, you know, a slave to somebody else. You know, I want a wife, now I must go there, you know. Bang Fafaz, give me Gorobela. But African ladies, they love those things. And unfortunately, they are easily fooled because South African sisters, they only listen to traditional healers, Nigerians.
And pastors.
And a white boss. Yeah, you know,
That's true.
They will not listen to you, I'm telling you. Even if you're a husband, and they listen to those, you know, Libo Chomi, you deserve better.
No, that's true because even at TB Joshua, when TB Joshua's church fell, there were casualties, South Africans, majority of women.
I don't blame them because women are women are emotional.
She survived though.
Women are
supposed to.
Tina, we are logical.
I've told you this before. Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because-
you see what I mean?
Because women judge things based on emotions. They use emotions for everything. Tina, we are logical. You can see with women, it's all about feelings. Even in relationships.
But can you blame them? Because you find there's this gap where women have to become like independent because of
For
their
what?
failed by
Why
men.
are you independent?
No,
It's
but
our
they've been
fault
failed.
because of emotional thinking.
No, it's not their fault. I'm just saying we've been failed so much by men. Remember that obviously men bring in that balance of, you know, being, yes, women are already emotional
Where
thinkers.
did men fail? Can I so that I can understand? Where did men
So
fail?
when Eve ate the apple, she was failed by Adam.
Delilah.
example. Yeah, so many examples. Like
So no,
prehistoric.
I'm not trying to
biblical
absolve women
examples.
from their decisions.
Where did men fail? I'm trying to understand that.
I'm just saying there's a lacking
Because I'm sure
of the
even
male
that mic
structure
you're
in
using was
buildings.
built by men.
And the guy's name was
Of course.
Michael. That's why it's called a Mike.
The clothes,
No, I'm just talking about general
most
society.
designers who design women clothes are gay men. What I'm trying to say, there are exceptions. There are guys, who drink, chelete yabana and all that, but they're not in the majority. But we're better off before the feminists. That's why my major enemy, things that I hate the most, I don't like feminism because black women took it too far. Since they adopted feminism, men and women are not equal. And also in the dating market, men and women are not equal. Don't be fooled by these sims when you post one picture, they say nice, because they can't get a girl. And most of them, they even tolerate cheating.
But Ike, what I'm trying to also to extend here is that the reason why we got so far, hence you've got the feminism, is because of women were failed so much by men that they had to stand up for themselves and fight.
And by the way, feminism was okayed by men.
Yes,
It's men who gave you that feminism.
True,
and
but it
women,
went too far
they
because
gave you
of
sexual
the lacking.
liberation. A woman cannot be sexually liberated. Once a woman says sexually liberation, she's a free food. Come on, liberated to whose benefit? Once you are generous.
It means you understand your body and you know what pleasures you.
How many body counts are you going to pick up? Once a woman says, I'm sexually liberated, it means now these simps, they're going to get a free pass. Back in the days, before this sexual liberation, it will take you 5 years before you could hit an age.
You can be liberated sexually because of your body. You've masturbated, you understand your body, you know what pleasures you. So it's that I'm liberated knowing my body.
Most of them, when they talk liberation, they talk liberation that, they can have as many men as they want. They can pick men. And I can tell you, since women are emotional, women, they don't sleep with a man until they feel. I can sleep with 1,000 chicks. Some of them I forgot their names. Where now you must feel first. So you're feeling number body one, body two. By the time you get to me, I want to marry you. You're messed up. You're messed up because all these guys, they're raging inside you. And some of them, they're abusing. Abusive. Because you're so used to these guys. And, what type of relationship are you going to have there? So women can't be, liberated, especially sexually, because women were meant to, like our mothers. Our fathers, they married virgins. I know that they say we are not our mothers. Who's that time the queen and the princess? And I asked, there was another one. She was behaving like she's a Michael Jackson to me. She kept on saying, I'm the princess, I'm the prize. I asked, what is it that I'm getting that you haven't offered to other guys? And probably... And probably guys who are lower than me, because as guys who rate each other. For an example, MacG here. Let's say MacG, he meets a woman, he wants to marry, is a single mother, that woman. You're not going to marry a woman because pari is going to be in your lives forever.
Yeah.
You are tight.
And most of them, because of this sexual liberation, because of this sexual liberation, when was the last time you see Linyano? Pop. It became scarce about December. Now we no longer see weddings. We're seeing more funerals, And they are easy to men. When you say sexual liberation, you become easy to men. Before we know, the body count is piling. And as guys, feminists can cry whatever. We don't want a high body count. Even God doesn't want a high body count. That's why he told Moses to kill the slave queens and keep the virgins.
No body count. You'd rather subscribe to
There's a verse in the Bible. God told Moses to kill these other ones. Body count, kill them. Take the virgins. In the Bible, it's there.
Yeah.
But you said you don't believe in Christianity. Now
No, I'm saying in the Bible. I'm quoting the Bible.
That's a good one.
Even Sodom and Gomorrah, I don't believe in the Constitution, but I quote it, So that's where we find ourselves. And people will say I'm oppressive, but as a guy, we don't want somebody who's going to embarrass you. And Tina, we pride ourselves because men are physical beings. We mark terrain. We are visual beings. There are 4 women who cannot embarrass you. Your daughter, your wife, your mom, your sister. If, even local school, once you start your joke, your mama joke, we even tell you, because we see these people. These people are angels.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
elevate your wife to the angelic level, your mom. So now your mom has been pierced by guys, who are useless. That's why even your exes, you check. Even if you can hear as a guy, Tina, we've got an interest, even in our exes. We want to see them doing well, except for women. Women, they want to see you suffer. Once they leave you, they want to see you suffer. You know why? To justify why they left you. Because, if you're doing well.
They lost out.
Yeah, they lost out. Now, if you're doing well, they don't like that. They must say, hey, guy, I left this guy, I bought a car, I bought a house.
What other things do you think they've done to take this feminism thing far? Because you said they've taken it too far.
There are certain, I'm telling you,
body count. Yeah,
there are certain jobs that women. Let me tell you. Now an average woman is masculine, and a nice guys. I don't want to date another man.
No,
because they bring male energy. Like for an example, most women who are lawyers, I meet lots of them. Law field, by its nature, it's adversarial. We fight. So some of them, they wear that costume even when they get home. We're still a lawyer. Even in corporate space, it teaches you to be cutthroat. This is a corporate space. I mean, we had shows like Boss Survivor. You must cheat, steal, outwit, outplay. And then that still continues. And unfortunately, it never ends. And when I as a guy, hey, I like a woman who's feminine.
Yeah,
I like a woman who's soft. I'm not saying that she must be dunderhead. Yeah. And that's why I find it strange when women who are masculine, they're always crying about men, men are stingy, don't do this. Women who are feminine, soft, they don't have to complain. Money just comes. You just give them money. But these ones who are arguing with you, for everything, they want to be the man in the house. They want to wear pants. It becomes a struggle, and you just say, you know what? I don't need this. Tina, as guys, we know how far we can take it. If I fight with my guy now, we argue. We can argue to a certain limit. Both of us know, you know what?
You understand your strengths.
Yeah, and if it continues longer, one uzofinyikazi. You're gonna taste the canvas. So, but with woman, I can't do that. But it irritates us when a woman is starting to fight you. You enter into the male terrain.
What about BBLs and stuff? Them getting BBLs?
South African women, I'm telling you this. South African women, they've got a natural BBL. I normally say, South African women are the most beautifulest women on earth. There's no one who can compare to South African women, black and white. Because you know why? Ethiopians, they are beautiful in huge numbers, other countries, but they all look the same.
Oh, yeah.
They've got similar features. If you go to Rwanda, you can see
women look the same, bro.
They all look the same. You go to other countries, but South Africans, you can find a Movenda from Venda, a Movenda from Gauteng. They don't look the same. They're different. You find Motswana, they don't look the same. You find colored. There's Latino colored. There's Indian colored. There's black colored. You find Chinese colored. You find white people in South Africa. They've got a bottle of Coca-Cola. Afrikaners. But you go to Zimbabwe, you find Bokasta Smith. Bomashona. Come on. You go to. Come on.
So you're against BBL? You're against BBL.
BBL, it's nice to look at, but I wonder, the benefit of it because after a long time. I like the natural thing is, if you have it, if you're slim, be slim, it's fine. If you're skinny, be skinny. I like that. There are a lot of things that I will look at and I admire with you, in you. But unfortunately, but my Nigerians, by the thick layer makeup and the weave and the original person even disappeared. And then
you once said, as a woman, if you marry a Sotho man, the man's father must have sex with you first. It's tradition.
I remember that. Bro.
I'm surprised that people don't know that culture. It's an old culture. It's an old Basotho culture. What used to happen if you brought a woman home? A son married to a girl, especially if she was a virgin, the father-in-law had to taste her first.
Hi, my dad.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Epson father.
That's why.
My dad ain't never fucking anybody before me. No, because he ain't there.
Fuck your woman before you. That's why many firstborns were raised by Bomako. by their grandmother.
Because
because the dad was. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, fuck.
And the people, those were things that used to happen, and some, even today they still happen. If maybe you die first and there's no success, your brother, or your older brother, younger brother gets into your wife, which is a good thing. Which is, because.
Meaning you must be crazy to allow that to happen.
But Basotho, they practice that. And
only Basotho or
I know Basotho.
Yeah.
I don't know about other nationalities.
So even currently, it still happens.
People now, they change, they become civilized. When I'm going to you.
A lot of things going to happen, man.
But back in the days, Pella, you were told. You were told. And women didn't have much power like now. They didn't have,
what was the reason behind
social,
that?
The logic.
Yeah, the logic.
I wonder what is the logic. But the father had to start first. There are certain things that I don't understand the logic.
Of course.
Like, for example, the Tsongas. I studied when I was still doing customary law. A Mutsonga woman, if you go and lobola a Mutsonga woman who's got a child, from or with another man, the lobola is quite higher than the one who didn't have the child. Yeah, because they said, I don't know whether it's a proof of fertility.
Proof of fertility.
Yeah, if she comes with a child from, wherever, they said the lobola money, the dowry had to go up. But nowadays it has changed. So many things have changed.
So you must go crazy when you watch Dr. Nandi and the Rev. What's that show?
Oh yeah,
Dr. Nandi.
No, it's not Dr. Nandi. It's just Nandi and the Rev.
Nandi and the Rev. Have you seen that show?
I don't see. I think what are they talking about?
You must watch that show. They emasculate that man like I've never seen.
Hey, he cries every show, like 3 times.
But
I'm Rev.
But the normal thing as a guy is, if that's the case, I mean, you must walk away. I know that there are situations where I've never walked away. I've been a simp at some point. But one thing I like about guys, you learn once. You meet a disrespectful woman once. And you meet another one, you'll never repeat that. Once you start to see the traits of that other one, you move. But with women, they keep on making the same mistakes. They choose a bad guy all the time. But women, anyway, they're attracted. Anyway, women, they like the bad guy all the time.
That's how we started the conversation.
It's only later when the bad guy has, moved on, then they start, saying, you know what, I want any man, Jay, who can love me. But party. That thing is still there. That's why in their 40s, look at women in their 40s now. They're all over social media. You know why? Because your husband is used to you, he's praising you, and it means nothing. They want social validation from outside. That's why many of them, they leave their houses. They are bored. They go because somebody gave them a compliment. They leave their houses. Because, women, they can just go because of a feeling, and the feeling that will fluctuate. Feelings are temporary. They up and down. With guys, you are different. You are logical. We go to work even if you don't want to. We stick in a relationship even if you don't want to. I mean, MacGyver here, he can meet Beyonce, can mix Ciara, and he'll shy too scared and go back to your wife.
Of course.
Yeah.
You'll never leave your wife.
Stop thinking twice.
Yeah. But women, they will leave you.
Yeah.
The moment there's a guy, I mean, look at Tabo Best. Women, they will leave you. Even if you can buy a mansion, go 10 fade.
Yeah.
That's so true.
They get bored.
You'll treat us so good. Fuck every day, treat her good. Do everything. And Chagalas
will come. We just stop suspension in your code.
No, that has happened to me. So you're like, I'm like, you're good. You're shaking in the bed every night. You're shaking. Everything is good.
Which brings me to...
I'm not stingy, but you still
They get bored. Right now, how do I know? Because right now you think this guy, he's a lawyer, he's a doctor. By that time, because there's this guy who's and it's a fail pop. You just seen a fail pop. It's like, this guy is And now, Chomban, you look at this guy, you say, but I'm sure even Dr. Makutumani, the hospital, they're laughing at him. Bambi is like, Dr. Makutumani, come to theater. The nurse, they're like, I say, that's yeah, you were saying.
So which brings me to black coffee and zinhle, right? Legally, as a lawyer, like, what do you think about that situation? Because when we're talking about it, we're of the belief that they can only share what they built together until the day of divorce. Like, but we don't know. We're not.
That's
lawyers.
accrual.
Can she get money? If
Let me
what
open
she's
my. I
currently getting
haven't
now?
done family law in a long time. Let me open my family law drawer.
Yeah.
I think there are 3 marriages. It's like, in community of property, out of community of property, and there's out of community property with accrual.
Okay.
You know, where you put your ANC contract and all. There's a civil one, the alphabet community. You know, there's customary. So with Black Coffee, I think they did the customary. Most customary marriages are taken as if it's community and property. So they signed that agreement that was it ANC contract.
ANC, international.
And now what happens in community of property, you share 50-50. Out of community of property, normally is like what's yours is yours. But once inside the marriage, you acquire it is both of you. But if you want, to separate 100%, even till the end, you must enter into that, that ANC contract and to say the accrual system does not apply. But that contract nowadays, it's almost useless.
Whoa.
Because when you get to court, you can sign the contract that says, me and my wife, we married out of community of property. We've got an agreement that says even in divorce, she acquires is hers, it's mine. And they look into this contract. But a contract has requirements. It must be balanced, it must be fair, it must be consensual, it must be legal.
Yes.
So the courts, what they normally do, we find another one, my contester. Like I think Yambali, I never followed clearly. Somebody says, know what, I was under duress. This guy's got power, he had too much power, and I had to agree. And the court will nullify that contract as null and void and say this contract means nothing. And the court will look at what is fair. We are in a constitutional democracy, what is just. They'll say, okay, fine. In spite of this contract, this woman will get nothing. When now you're a billionaire. Is there a judge who's going to say she must go to the street?
No.
She did not buy the house.
No.
You bought the house. And the judge will also look at what is fair. Pella, the judges are not bound by, your contract 100%. Yes, they must respect the sanctity of the contract. But contract still has to be fair. It has to be interpreted in the spirit of the Constitution, in the spirit of what is fair, in the spirit of gender. And they will look into those aspects. Because you know what? This guy had too much power. I mean, if you are married to P. Diddy and you are a girl from Kwashoba Shoban, you get nothing. The judge will say, obviously, this girl, was starstruck and all that. He had to agree on anything. This guy had too much power. This contract, it was overbearing. And then you're overreaching. Then they will say, you know what, at least give us something. So that contract,
So is there a world where zinhle owns off of Black Coffee's wealth, like to date?
They gave a half. Now I would say, taking to that the situation.
Can you just read the ruling for us, just so you get it?
I think she wanted at some point she wanted 100 million.
Yes.
I'm sure now they are regretting not giving her. I mean, if I was in that situation, I know that I'm worth $1 billion. I'll say, you know what? Let's consider 100 million. But when I'm going there, I'm also crying and say, can't we make it 6? Can't we make it 7? Can't we make it?
Let's make it 20.
And then eventually we settle and say, Bamba, out. And then we sign. But
did you get the story there?
Yeah, because 100 million. Because I'm fucking out. Now I'm fucking out. Even if you got 20 billion, I'm fucking out.
Yeah, there's the story. Can you just read it first, Ghost Lady?
Yo, man.
Okay, the Johannesburg High Court has finalized a divorce ruling in favor of zinhle Mbali by declaring their customary marriage valid and in community of property, invalidating a later antenuptial contract. The final ruling grants zinhle Mbali half of their marital assets, monthly spousal maintenance of 15,000 rand and a monthly support payment of 50,000 rand from Black Coffee.
So she doesn't own the money he's accumulated.
He's gonna take half of from that date that they're gonna determine.
Yeah.
They're gonna split half of what. If Black Coffee is worth $1 billion, $2 billion, it's gonna take one.
No, he's probably worth $1 billion now.
Billion. He's gonna take 500.
No ways now. No ways.
But are there any ways?
No way. Isn't it from when they got divorced? Like from the day they got? Because when they got divorced, I don't think it was worth that much.
Marriage in community of property.
Because it's been years now.
But it's been years though.
It doesn't matter from the beginning. I think it's in community of property. You share the gains and losses.
The gains and losses.
You share the gains and losses from beginning up to the.
But Ike, me and you, we get in the marriage, right?
Yes.
and then 2010 we break up, right? It's now 2020. I'm with $1 billion. So you're saying in
But then you were worth 20 million.
yeah, but in
10
2010 I was with 10 million.
For massive.
Aren't we sharing the 10 million?
If I come with things, I'm marrying you in community of property. It doesn't matter when I acquire those things. They come, they fall into the joint estate.
I got those things after our divorce.
Or when the divorce started.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it takes a while to finish conclude. Like their divorce concluded now.
I think their divorce started in about 2018, if I'm not
Is it
mistaken.
Yes, but
So
like
is
6
she
years, and
only
he's been
getting
doing so well.
what he had until 2018?
I don't think so. I think up to the court will determine, and you have to.
That is.
I mean, what if you acquired a billion beyond from 2019? And
Yes.
Yeah, but I had no desire of being with her, and we're not even having sex. Why must I
She should not
even share my money with
That's
someone I
why
was
some
not having
guys they
sex
never
with?
divorce. They separate. And for me, this is what.
That's crazy.
That's not.
Yeah, that's another
Course
thing
not.
that one thing that I don't.
Sorry.
That's not. Of course, that's not.
But for me, that's one thing that I also have an issue with this Roman Dutch law, this thing of maintenance and all that. Why would I still be maintaining someone, who got half of my assets, maintenance? So those I don't understand, because that person already has got enough, of the loot, can maintain yourself. Why must I still pay special maintenance? There are certain things that I don't understand with the current law system. I think certain things must change. Maybe they were drafted during apartheid.
And what legal advice can you advise men to protect themselves in like long-term relationships to make sure such a thing doesn't happen?
Black coffee.
Look, relationships, you just take a leap of faith. And there are certain things that I can tell you the advices, and there are pros and cons in all situations. You drive a car, there are advantages, there are also disadvantages.
They can get in an accident.
You try to vet people. That's why I normally blame women when they say, I married, this guy is abusive. I said, but you chose him, and you chose a bad guy, and you become surprised, when he behaves in that way. So we try, to eliminate as much as we can, but you cannot preempt a person because people change, and now all I can say, as a man, register your things in your mother's name. If you register your things in your mother's name or your sister's names, and then make sure, or into a family trust. What these Jewish guys normally do. That's why you'll find that a Jewish guy of 78 years, Melrose Ark, is with a slave queen, 23 years old. And when he dies, you find that this guy has nothing. All the money is into a family trust. The first wife comes and the children, they tell you, no, this guy was only earning an allowance. He owns nothing. Even the car belongs to the trust.
To the trust.
Yeah, he gets nothing. So I would advise people to come up with trust. To say, this is a Penduga trust, and Nina, I'm also, a participant, or I'm a shareholder, but there's all of us here, and then a bunch of trustees. So when this woman comes, if she thinks that she's going to go with something, you tell her, listen, now I've got 5,000 in my bank account, or everything else. Trust. They give me money. It's money start, by the trustees. It will be a long shot for a woman if she wants to win. She must challenge that and say, no, the trust was established because of they want to conceal. It's a long shot. It's like a company. It's a legal person on its own. To breach that corporate veil, it's a long shot. And by that time, she can't fight you because the trust has got money. It's like fighting the government.
Don't trust her.
You take it to SCA, you take the constitutional court, you take it, anywhere, and then she'll be exhausted. And she must settle with, no, we'll support. I don't know.
So I'm about to get to something else that you said. This is wild, man. You said some people who went to the mountain converted to bestiality. They were forced to have sex with goats and other animals.
Oh, my God.
Men are fucking each other in those initiation schools. They've learned nothing about manhood.
Oh, so fucking.
I've been to the mountain. I didn't fuck no goat,
You
man.
didn't fuck Messi? Or comes with a smoke? You didn't fuck with a smoke? No goat?
What did you mean by that?
Look, yeah, man.
The mountains.
Yes.
They say what happens in the mountain stays in the mountains. like in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And you know what's happening in Las Vegas. And there was a movie called
The Devil on it's Hell on Earth.
Yeah, and there was a movie called
Do you know in Las Vegas they have a drip, a 24-hour drip in a car that just goes around the.
Oh my God, to revive you. To go fuck up more.
Yeah.
If you need a drip, you just hop
Stay
on
up and fuck up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that is that, the mountain, and there was a movie called Zinhle.
Yeah, I
And
saw that with the gay guy.
They protested. you
Yeah.
know.
I remember
And,
that was long ago, man.
Yeah, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I've unfortunately, guys don't want to tell you go to what's happening in the mountain. They say it's a secret. I mean, come on. They are not talking robbing the banks or capturing the Reserve Bank. You know, what's so secretive about that big? You know, that, I can't tell. But
Especially if it's good for you.
Yeah,
Have you been to the mountain?
no.
good for you.
I was Zulu, so I was brought up as a Zulu. So
Oh, you was Zulu. Hey, you was really serious. He's so serious about denouncing his culture. I was Zulu.
Yeah, so Zulus, they don't go there because Shaka Gasenza Ngakona, he abolished that. He said,
Yes.
Men don't have time. Gucci, you are nursing your penis. You need to fight here. You are conquering other nations. So I
You must grow thick skin. And that is called football.
and I can tell you, I circumcised when I was older, you know, and it was very difficult because I find it difficult taking my pants off, you know, in front of another woman that is not mine or a man. You know, even in the gym, I can't be naked in front of other people. And it was the worst decision ever to circumcise because before and after is not the same. The taste feels different. Guys who've circumcised, they'll tell you sex is not enjoyable when you've circumcised. Because,
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay. So that's when you've had sex uncircumcised.
If you've had
versus
sex,
yes,
before
like I've never had
circumcision,
sex uncircumcised.
the sensation is hallelujah. After circumcision, you don't know. I'm telling you,
But the skin is
you must
covering the feelings.
No.
The skin is covering the feelings. Like
How does it cover
I'm not feeling on my clothes.
Because you don't know. Fella, this thing, it comes up like in a polo neck. It keeps on coming up and in. So it keeps on like a snake in. Now,
Wait, hold on. So people are having sex circumcised.
people,
The skin stays behind.
like I get the skin. It goes like.
Oh, it look chopper like that.
And at that, I'm telling you, sex, you know, before you get circumcised, it is the best.
No way.
After circumcision, it just
Ladies, circumcised dick or not? Which one do you prefer? The one is married, one is not sure if she likes men.
Nah, she's very sure.
I've had a woman, you know, she even, asked me, why did you circumcise? Then I realized that she was enjoying me more before circumcision.
I've never heard of that. Bro.
Yeah, I've spent time with guys, growing up, who've been to the mountains as young men, we go sometimes to play. Some they went earlier. And, when, we're in the bushes, they start their tendencies and say, let's do, what you normally do, or we did, etc.
There was a man who was suing his parents for actually taking him to get circumcised.
Yeah, I said,
But
no.
I went to the mountains. I saw none of that.
Yeah,
Bro.
I carry that. They are not
That's
the
the
same.
Fender way.
They're not the same. But
they're not the
Babies
same.
have their own thing.
Okay.
Hustlers
But
have
my
their own
issue
thing.
with the mountains.
I advocate for it, man.
Yeah, but
It was life-changing,
I'm
Because you
saying,
don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
I don't promote it, but if I promote the mountains, it will be under these conditions. Maybe the government must intervene, and the women cannot be told, no, the women have no place because it's your child who's dying there, and the government must intervene in this way. If the Bavenda, they go to the mountain, go vendor, the Tsongas, at least the education system that they learn there, it must, empower them so that when they come out, they can have skills. They can fix TV. We must know which is as Mpumalanga when they come out.
communities can benefit
When they
from
come
this
out,
They're there for 3 weeks.
they come.
You're healing most of the time. You're there for 3 weeks.
Then it's not like Jewish kids. Jewish kids, they've got their private schools where they teach how to manipulate the rent or whatever. If they manipulate the rent, how to capture economy, how to But us, you go in there to learn what? Because if you are becoming a boy to man, those skills they must teach you. Mina ngazi ukuthi yabona la evenda ezarazi intswembu ngamafridge masiphuma la zikwazi ukulungisa ama TV Eastern Cape,
Yeah.
after they came out from the mountain, they become good mechanics. And then they can integrate. What is the point?
that's not the job
Okay,
of-
fine. What is the point of saying?
Yeah, but that's the point.
What is the point of saying, let's say maybe we had 10,000 men last summer or last winter who went to the mountain. And when they come out, the HIV is still high. Women abuse is still high. The unemployment is still high.
fridges
Where
don't
does
work.
that filter in the country?
The fridges don't work.
So there is no economic benefit that I can point out.
exactly.
Guys, they are more rude, and the only thing you've got, some of them, is a jacket with stock sweets. So
No, but you have to-
You're told you're a man.
we are told we are
Yeah,
men,
no,
but you have
but
to
you
go
cannot
back,
survive.
Sometimes
Yeah.
by the
back
harm
to-
you can
You have
inflict.
to go back to understand why such a school exists
Why?
and what's the objective.
What was the objective probably back then was to teach you how to become a man so that you can survive in the open world and you can be competitive.
Okay, that's why you're in the mountain.
But that needs to be adapted
but
to
if you
today's
come
world.
out, if you come out in the mountains, you cannot survive. You still go to your parents' home and you want to be supported, and then you tell yourself that you're a man. If you come from the mountain, there should be tangible things that you say, this guy, this one comes from the mountain because we can see the development, the way he treats women, his respect.
Bro,
The country cannot suffer the same, or worse. I mean, check Lesotho. Lesotho, they go to the mountain. Lesotho's got the highest rape. Probably in SADC, we've got the highest rape.
But also, sorry to interject, né? But I remember growing up. So my best friend was mpho. May his soul rest in peace. And the sisters used to tell stories of Abakwet, the guys in the mountain. When they saw those guys, because apparently I don't know what they did, but they would be back into society, walking along the street or something. You need to run away from them.
You see.
But if these are guys who are now being trained to be men, shouldn't those be the guys you feel safe around?
You
Exactly.
see, those are the issues that.
Because I used to hear that Abakweta, when you see them run, white covered in white, run
Because-
to avoid rapes and such stuff.
you
and
But
then you
if
see,
these
What's
guys
the
are becoming
point?
men, they should be the safest guys to be with.
But then that tells you that
it reminds me of the history of Germany. When they said after World War II, when Germany was defeated, the Allied forces, they came to rescue people. But people don't tell that almost 2 million German women were raped by the Americans and the Russian soldiers. But nobody talks about that. And these are supposed to be liberators. The same way as they still do today. They liberate you, teach you democracy, steal your oil. But when it comes to the mountain, mountains, for me, now, I don't see the economic benefits, the social benefit, the political benefit, because we are still the same, And maybe they should intervene. The kings must also intervene and say, you know what, this is the kind of man that we want to see, a boy to man.
let's change the curriculum.
Let's change the curriculum so that we make these men become, competitive in the modern world. I mean, look at Chinese. The Chinese kids, they learn, tangible things to fix phones, to others. Here in Africa, they're reading the Bible verses.
It's almost like the military. Yes. I remember watching what's Trump's Apprentice, that show.
Yeah.
And he really loved people who went through the military because they had a particular discipline that he could trust to put in certain positions in business. So it should be like that, where you know that this guy's gone to the mountain. I know for a fact he's got these values and these traits instilled in him.
And when you talk
could be of value.
When you talk of the military, this is what Afrikaners used to do. In 2 years, and you go to the mountain in an army conscription. And our mountain was to go steal cars for white people.
Yeah, our initiation into manhood. That's our initiation.
Those are our initiations.
Into
How to survive, And so that is that.
No, fair enough.
Another. Sorry, man. You're not against initiation. It's what is being imparted and taught and instilled.
It can be improved. At least if we are there, we should learn like other nationalities. I can tell you, anywhere else in the world, there's an education system that you normally get at school. And there's an education system that the Jewish kids, they teach themselves. It goes, whether they're using the Talmud and all that. Which, you know what, whenever you tell about Pariba, this is how you control them. Look at how these city properties took over the CBDs. They simply backed off 94. They went to Rosebank, sent in. The properties dilapidated. They came back to buy it for a song.
Yeah.
People are learning. Well, now when you do your courses about accounting, this guy is the right PhD, the psychology of accounting, the sociology of it means one course can have, multiple discipline. When I was studying private law, they can read the history of private law, the psychology, private law, econometrics. Then now we study compliance. We started to take this thing and put it there. Even our doctors, they could not have a solution even during COVID. When you start coming and say, hey, umhlanyelo, no. The Western pharmaceutical gonna give you. But these guys, they learn how to sabotage anything that does not favor them. And sometimes people are killed. Like you check companies like Coca-Cola, all these companies, some of them that are owned by these financiers, they use, guns. When they tell you at school, the pen is mightier than the sword. What nonsense is that? He who has the gun controls everything. Yeah. I mean, even
that's how we got owned as Africans.
Yeah, even guys like Coca-Cola, both South America, they go in there and sponsor rebels or sponsor a government of the day to say, you know what, we want raw material. Continue. If another government comes in which is not friendly to them, they must topple it. So with guns, police don't have pens, when they come to your house. But unfortunately, they give us this education. You say, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. So it's a media I just tell yourself, no, today I may as well die. I'm going to defend them.
Fair enough, man. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Celebrities sell drugs for mafias. Who are these celebrities?
Oh, no way.
It's a nas.
Celebrities that's selling drugs.
It's a nas.
Not celebrities.
Celebrities, you are a celebrity.
Hey, man, what are
and the term celebrity is very funny. The term celebrity sometimes is taken out of context. Before, let me define it. Because there are people who are public figures. They are not necessarily celebrities. There are people who are soccer players. They are on TV. We see them all the time. They are not necessarily celebrities. But if you go to soccer, you'll say Dr. Kumalo is a celebrity. Maybe Wotiko Modise is a celebrity because he's celebrated and he does something which makes him stand head and shoulders above his peers. And hence, the people who celebrate him, they become celebrities. But unfortunately, now, it's like soccer players. They'll tell you a person who played soccer in 1992 is a legend, but there are no legendary tales. That you can say he's a legend because of 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, what he did, yeah.
So, I mean, it's given. I mean, how money is washed, in these churches. These drug dealers, they're always associated with churches. They're always associated with clubs. I mean, clubs are not lucrative that much. Besides, if you're going to inflate the prices of alcohol, where some of the teachers, probably they also approach you. They'll say, come up with this event. And they give you money to sponsor. It's easy. I can do that. I can give you 15 million. You make up an event maybe with lesser than that. And then later on Monday, you go bank the bulk of the money as if it comes from, sales and all that. I've already washed money.
Of course.
Yeah, and with nightclubbing and drugs, I mean, what is the product that is bought all the time? You can't buy mics all the time. Drugs are bought all the times. And you check the history of drugs, even in America, the CIA, they started to push drugs. They're pushing the Black Panthers. And the club culture, the entertainment, that's where, they promote these things, even in Hollywood, even in, in music. They're always associated, go hand in hand. So
you don't have any names for us? No, you don't know?
I'm going to get sued. I don't have names.
Give us clues. We will say the names. Yeah. We don't mind getting sued.
Yeah, give us clues.
I've been out in the last time I was in the entertainment space, it's been a long time, Let me say that. The last time I was back in my time, people, when I do podcasts, they always come to me, even ex-girlfriends, they come to me, you're talking about me, So out of respect,
So in the club, we're talking the DJs,
the club owners will know.
The promo girls.
Yeah, even including your date rape. I mean, nowadays, that's why sometimes I say, sometimes women, they're gullible. There was another guy, he said he rescued these women. He said there's a guy who ordered drinks for them. They come from the barman, spiked already. And then they go to you. And then these guys, he intervened. They say they don't drink it. I've got a woman. That's why I have issues with women who grooves, who go to nightclubs and all that. I take a dim view. Once a woman says, no, she regularly drinks and go to these places, bo Capelos, bo Mang, you know.
But it's restaurants.
That's why the Capello is potong.
If you're at Capello at 11 o'clock, it's not
how
in
many
the
times
evening, it's not the same.
How many times a woman can say no to drinks if a guy comes a stranger? And I get surprised, you know, and I think sometimes women, they know it. Like, for an example, when a guy comes to buy you alcohol, to start with, he's expecting something.
Yeah.
I get surprised, you know, when women says no, these guys, they just bought us alcohol, now that's what they do. It's like in jail. You don't eat somebody's food or someone's
Also,
but women, I've intervened in many situations, even Kokasi. I'm about to leave, and I hear somebody says, Ike, and then I go, chance, what's happening? You know, that's what, you know, it is.
I mean, didn't you see the story?
I saw the story. They said that guy.
Mamelodi story.
Passed away.
Can you just tell us the story of the ghost lady?
Yeah.
So 2 girls were shot
21, 22.
execution style. They're cousins, 2 cousins. I know the guy appeared in court today. This is Wednesday. And also shot a boyfriend of the girl who survived.
Yeah, I wanted to
Wait, but why are they being shot? Explain the story.
Oh, there's a context there?
Yeah.
So they were clubbing together, and then there was, when they left, I think there was some like conflict that happened. I think this was on their way home because they were found just a couple of like I don't know, they
drank the guy's booze.
Oh, that's why.
First of all, you must condemn that behavior. It is wrong if you buy a woman's. You buy them alcohol, you expect to go with them. You must have consent. But that's a street language.
Yeah.
People, they buy alcohol, they expect to live with you. So
and when you accept alcohol,
automatically,
the guy, not that he's entitled, but he expects, there's an expectation. That samba song.
And I feel that women know that, but they think somehow they can maneuver. You know, it's the same as when a woman says, he's just a friend. I think women know that, no, we don't want guy friends. We don't want besties. We know that these guys want to fuck. Yeah. There is no sane man who wants to befriend a woman.
And you got a big bum.
No.
No guy wakes up and says, I want to be a friend with a woman with a big bum.
And
nice curves. No
we befriend women that are beautiful, we are attracted to. I mean, if a female friend come to me, I'm not going to say, why are we doing this? If she's vulnerable, if she comes to me and she says, my mom has just passed away, she cries. The only consolation that I think, that's the only consolation.
That's why I want to call me bra, because I want to be on your poop.
I smash you. If you come to me and says you're at work, they've suspended you, you're crying, I grab you, and then I feel you, I'm going to hit you.
That's it.
No, I pass my finger there, you say hard, and inside. Or I said, let me rub you, let me massage you. It's like these gym instructors. What are you doing with a male gym instructor? Man, I'm a woman. If she goes to a male gynecologist, this is equivalent to cheating. You know, you can't go to a male doctor. And I know I once had a woman, she says, he's an old Indian man. I said, Mena, do I see Indian Muslim women? They covered themselves. You know, this gynecologist, but they can see you. I find a female gynecologist. She goes back to this guy. That is nonsense. There is no man. We are not wired that way. Till now, we are waiting for the opportunity. It's either I've been friend zone or I want you. I'm scared to tell you. But the day you make a mistake or you tipsy, and then I'm gonna hit you. I'm not.
He's in there, bro.
Women know that. Just they like the attention.
Why, yeah.
And if you ask, come on. No male who's going to say no unless he's got erectional dysfunction. Even gays. Man, I had a woman who says, no, he's gay. You know, baby is gay. And one day, this woman came to me and says, you know what, you were right. You know, I was taking a bath, you know, in front of this guy. He saw my breast and he started getting horny. Why? And if it's gay, it's worse because they're going to hit her both sides. They're going to even hit where I don't hit. Man, Kenya wrong. All I Kenya. When I go, what you are sim too, but wait. Sim too. Yeah, guys like sim too. But for a woman, you know, it's just Kenya wrong. Mari gay. That's more. And you can both sides. Nana secretary penalty gay. Nana the baby so after 18 years. And I find good to know the baby is Somizi's child. Somizi shapa both. There is a consensual. You know, most gay people, they've got kids. Where do they think they take these kids? They hit these women. You know. So and they know, and they even know. She goes to this guy and say, you know, Salt did this, I'm console. And Kenya petrol. One more. And Kenya petrol. The next thing, but I mean, women, they can sleep in the same bed with a male gay then. Tina, we don't get to sleep with our lesbian friends, you know. So, but now they can sleep in the same bed and hug. What happens if the feelings come? No, I cannot handle that. But these things they do happen. Man, if I meet you and we decide to be in a relationship, you tell me there's another man, one must go. You know, maybe I can pretend the first week until I hit. Once I hit, I've got the authority now. I'll hit you first. Once I hit you going nowhere, I'll tell you, no, I don't like this guy. He must go. You know, he must go.
Yeah, you can't say that before.
No, I can't say that before because I'm gonna lose. I must hit you first, and I must make sure that you know. Yeah, if possible, can you lead in lunch bar?
Obvious. Ghosty, do women genuinely believe that a guy wants to be your friend, has no ulterior motives, and that a guy, I know there's,
yes,
no, that's what
I know there's, I know there's minority of men who will buy you drinks without expectations, and then there are men. This is me now, right? Let's say I'm single. I will buy you a drink because I want to fuck you. But if you accept the drink and you don't want to fuck me, that's okay. But we're in the minority. So are there women who genuinely believe that can drink Moët, Veuve, and 3 bottles of that shit, which costs like 10,000 rands, and the guy wants to go home by himself, not with you?
Yes. Because remember
Genuinely?
the country. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Dudu's got something to say. She go,
She says she doesn't.
Yeah.
If anything, she's agreeing with me.
You think there's a man who's going to spend 4,000-5,000 rands or 10 on bottles, and he literally just wants you to see you go home drunk by yourself?
Yes.
No, it doesn't happen. Guys.
And you know which nationalities are actually popular for that? Nigerians.
No.
Exactly.
We know.
Yes.
We know.
Nigerians will be, they think, they will splurge on you and not expect nothing. And I've heard of that.
No. It's a teaser. It's a teaser. You know,
I believe so.
No, you know, it's the same as when South African women saying the Nigerians have got TLC. Of course, they'll do more because they're in a foreign country. If I were to go to England, I know nobody, and I find a woman who's gonna give me an accommodation and all that, and I also want a passport that side. I want to be a citizen. Yeah. I'm gonna go beyond the scope. I'm gonna try to be more than the locals. Even them, the Nigerians are the only ones who can take a woman with 3 baby daddies. You know, they don't mind because they want the citizenship.
They want the surname.
I mean, I'm picky and choose and say, no, 2 is enough. Even one. You know, I can be 79. I normally say I can be 79 with 4 children, 7 children. I still want someone who doesn't have kids. I still want someone who doesn't have kids because it's a preference, and there are more women than men, and it's a biased market. It's a biased market. There are 8 billion people here on earth, so I'm not gonna be bothered. One thing about women, other than that, they don't forget. That guy, that first guy, they never forget. There's this guy in all women that they never forget. So now, if she's got a child, that man will live rent-free inside your heart and mind forever. And now I'm going to have to, to dance to somebody's guitar, especially if the kid is still small. The next thing another man is got is access, to my wife. Sometimes the woman must go there. Baby number 2. So no ways, it doesn't happen. The same as I found another woman, young, 2019, 30 years old, very young, beautiful, owning a law firm. And I discovered that the baby daddy from Ghana. No ways. And she says she wanted to get married. You can't come from Ghana and make me a stepfather. Yeah. How can you? You can't. Imagine you come from Nigeria to make me a stepfather. Yeah. All the way. There is no way. In fact. The next thing one I put you to papa and Tafita mo post because onto post onto my bundle of joy. Kibona that flat hate in Jense yakwa. You into a culture or Or stop doing that. When he stops here, he fiddles here. No, I don't want a child. There are people who are good in this role. I'm not one of them. And there are people who are good because I'll end up, being evil. So it's better not to be in those roles because these kids are amatanda hate. Because amatanda hate. Most women, their first child, the baby daddy, is a very, very useless guy. Many of them. They chose the worst guy because they're still young, peer pressure. The guy's got a drop suspension, polo GTI. And then they realize later, I made a kid with a thunderhead. Now this thunderhead is going to be here calling, I want my child. We're going to family court. I'm supposed to accompany you to family court. You're fighting this guy. No, I don't want that drama. And my kids, they are death side. I'm not going to overburden you, Kavanabak. Women, I don't know a woman that I've dated who's got kids, where her kids don't become my responsibility one way or the other. I must assist, I must come in, I must advise if it's a boy child. If I'm with you, I've got children of my own. You'll never even, see their baby mamas. You'll never even you'll hear once in a while. I'm not going to overburden you, Kabanabaka. That's my responsibility. Even if I married Oprah, I won't come to Oprah and say, hey, Oprah, baby, can you assist me? Got school fees, Banabaka. No, that's my pride.
Oprah,
because you also you talk too much. One day you're going to say, I used to support his kids.
What's your take on kids out of wedlock?
Kids are kids. They are beautiful, and believe you me, kids are beautiful,
They're
Go bang, but banging babon or ebanigazin bao.
Yeah.
They are beautiful, and that's what most women miss. And it's a bundle of joy to you. They are special to you. To me, they add no benefit. If I meet you with your child, it's another family line.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question. What do you think about having a kid outside of the marriage?
You mustn't have kids outside marriage. I made those mistakes.
Okay.
And I made those mistakes. I agree. You must support them once they are there. But kids should be born inside a marriage or a stable relationship, where there's a mother and a father. And statistics have proven kids that are raised, if you put a single mother and a single father, different. The single mother, usually the kids, they become useless. I'm telling you, they become drunkards, they become thugs, they become problematic in society. If there's a father, the father normally, they raise better children as a single parent. A mom can allow a kid, when utla polo, utla BMW, as a father, you'll not allow that. As a father, you don't want to meet boyfriend number 1, 2, 3. The only boy that you're going to meet is the one who's going to come and say, I want to marry this girl. But with women, they know boyfriend number 1, number 2. All these guys, they have smashed.
But I was raised by a mother.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I'm a drunkard. Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
Because it's exceptional cases where the mom played the role very well and say, but in most cases, because mom are softer and sometimes they don't want to lose the child.
Yeah.
I've seen moms, they don't want to fight the daughter, because they don't want to antagonize her. Instead, they want to sympathize with her. But as a guy...
Same with the son as well.
Yeah, and then they allow a son or a boy, a girl child, a leeway. Us guys, you've got that thing, no nonsense. I'm not going to do this. My child cannot come to me and tell me that I've got a boyfriend. The mom is okay to play that role so that they know where is the child, in case the child is missing. But I don't want to meet, the boyfriend.
No, fair enough.
I don't think a woman should bring many boys at home, and your father keep on saying, because your father is thinking, he looks at this one, he's hit my child, he's probably broken it. This number 2, number 3. Where's John? You see Saul. Imagine what his Saul is probably, extra large.
Double XL.
Double XL. So that's disrespectful. Disrespectful. So but children that are raised, by fathers, they do better in most cases than those who are raised by mothers.
Fair enough, man. Before we get out of here, Ghost Lady, any last questions?
I do. Okay, earlier when we spoke, you talked about just how the hardships, obviously how bad politicians and you even labeling people amabar, just labeling that. Who do you look up to? Who do you feel? Where do you see hope?
Look, there's so many good men and women, who are struggling and striving to make ends meet. I admire those people. Politicians, most of them in politics, you can't imagine. Let's say for Umbalola, without, public office, what will he be doing? Some of them, they'll be hobos. if you took away politics.
Yeah.
And many of them, they chow money and little in return. You know, compared to Afrikaners stole money, but they did something for their people. And
Even for us.
Yeah, even for us. And unfortunately, we have no recourse. Somebody can become a politician, go out of politics. We have no way of saying, you know what, you benefited, bring those benefits back, your company, we attach it. And most of them, you know, come on, there were Sims. You know, they couldn't get girls.
Who would you put up there on a pedestal and say,
politics
there's
at the
a
moment.
black person, not even politics, just anyone that you say, you know, there's a person who's out there that we know of
Who
is
should we
doing
read
well.
about and learn from?
There's so many outside. Kesam Taung is one of them.
Okay.
You know, Bo Evan Koza, there are one, Bo Chomosono. There's so many outside politics, and we used to have a lot of them, you know, in different spells. Bo Dr. Samutswinyana, Bo Maponya. We used to have lots of them, you know. In the media spaces, we used to have people who were running empires without government assistance, other than maybe education. So, but nowadays, the ones that we have, you know, I mean, there's little benefit. And they are plugged into white companies. They never started anything from scratch. They were just BE and brought in there.
Billionaires with no company.
Yeah, billionaires with no company. You employ no
Billionaires,
one.
no company.
Yeah, and you can see one of them, you know, they have that thing. You know, yeah, I want to come to Josie Maboning, you know, and you make a guy a minister. A guy who's never seen a tar road, a guy who's never seen a train, you know, he was somewhere in the Bundus. He doesn't know what is a pothole. I mean, if you made a guy like Mbalula a minister of transport, probably in the villages, he has to ride on a horse for 20 kilometers before he sees a tar road and tar road to the train, then come to Josie. Many of them, they come to Josie. But Tawamalites, Sona 40. So, and then you make that guy a minister. They've never seen, you know, a budget. And they've never been successful where they come from. You know, they've been losing all the way, and you make them ministers. In America, in other countries, even though guys steal money, but you check, you know, in public office, many of them, they've run businesses, they've run institutions. You know, I mean, a guy like, who's this guy? There's another guy in J, he looks dead. I mean, he's got a history. You know, there were rumors that he stole rough money. I mean, Bolamul. I mean, these guys, they steal money. Tell me, you know Cyril Ramaphosa, if you can put Cyril Ramaphosa on the side of the road, you'll think that he's a painter. With all the monies that he stole, and he still look pale. But they look rough. I can't imagine you have a billion. Your skin texture must change. You look at Bokeza Mtaung, you know, they look dead. They chow man, because what they do is buy alcohol, and they created this culture, Maslay Queen. You know, back in the days, if Ushalaga Chalete use money to woo girls, we used to laugh at you. Girls used to laugh at you. But nowadays, they laugh at you if you don't pop out money. Yeah. People who changed that culture are these guys by PEE. Because after the entrepreneurs, we started seeing guys buying things, cars, buying flats for women, you know, students, abusing them, you know, because they know that you come from the villages, you went to Vetstech, and you have got nothing. Then, you know, they'll buy you a townhouse or, you know.
But what if you just love your woman and you've got a bit of change? And you want her to enjoy
the woman.
Yeah, if I drive around all the time and then my woman wants to take a taxi and I'm like, yo, man, I do not want you to be sitting next to Ike Akshelelapa. I'll Uber you. Is that being as simple or just being a caring guy?
There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying, these guys, what they normally do, they go
splurge.
to... Okay, fine. Where have you seen white people parking their cars next to UJ?
Yeah.
Tina, we find...
so true.
Tina, you find ANC guys. A guy of 60 years old in a nightclub. What are you doing in a nightclub? Because when I'm 28, I can feel that I no longer belong here. Because they are kids. You know, and I mean, if I'm 20 and getting its size, age, what am I doing in a nightclub if I'm 70? You know, I'll buy you an iPhone. Come with me. I mean, come on. You must feel now with this age, what if my child walks in here? But these guys by ANC, they go to nightclubs.
They don't care.
At their old age. You can check them. You know, they're always rumoredly the slave queen.
Yeah.
You know, you find the cabinet minister.
The whole Ket Matlala thing is because of the Bokhotobejane.
And you can see the guy is a more comfort. If you've got that kind of money, what are you doing chasing slave queens and all that?
I
mean, if I have that kind of money, I'm telling you, I'll be in Japan. I'll be doing the cousin of the cousin of the empire of the emperor.
Yeah.
I'll be showing you go British royal family, go Monaco. I'll be inside there, you know.
Bro.
But when they're chasing these women because they know that, you know, they're desperate. I will not be chasing Bopel too. I mean, if I'm worth more 500 million, you can see these guys, good, you know, they're not used to that. They just bump into money. Bomam Kize. You can see we've got millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires that add value to us. I mean, at that time, I'm not saying white people don't do that. They're, you know, they're very secretive. They've got private houses, you know, and they don't do it. I'm obvious. I mean, if I go to Vets, obviously, I park a Rolls Royce, you know, how many women can I get? I'll get a lot, you know, for nothing. And in fact, them on top of that. And I heard they say 1.1 million people who've tested positive. I think they were doing a massive test. They said they're on the run, they're not taking treatment. And they're not taking, and they're all over. Yeah, boy, they're all over. You know, infecting other people. You know, and they say, you know, which is bad. And most of these politicians, there were times, thanks to ARVs, there were times where they spread the HIV. Many ministers, people will say I'm talking rumors, but it's true. Some of them, they'll say it's sugar diabetes, it's like high blood. But you know high blood. You can see this person is gray, he's got pink lips, he's skinny. And then they'd say, you know, he's got high blood, but he's infecting kids, you know, at high school, he's infecting kids.
High school?
He's infecting kids, you know, Boma first year, which is wrong, you know, because we've got the political power. Many of them you can tell with no, man, it's not make sure. You know, that's why if you are with me, I test you. Mina nganjola ni 5. Mara ngifuna nipilonga game nonke. Akunamuntu onomuntu wakhe. Mina nganjola ni 10, angishare, yabo. Ngizolonga in round so. Mangibuya after 2 weeks. Start a text. Hey, when I test when. Test when. Because these condoms are not 100% safe. And even PrEP, I don't know what is the repercussions of PrEP and all that. I don't want to be worried. I want money, man. I want to live like, you know, nice. I don't want to be worried. There was a time, you know, during Kosazana Zuma, they used to play these adverts. Will you see 2010? Hey, they used to stress me those things.
I never saw those. Will you see 2010?
Will you see 2010?
I've never seen those.
And in those days, I was drinking heavy every weekend, you know. And then sometimes, sometimes you tell yourself, condom, quality. Can't I say? And who's you must know what I say here. And I wanna first round I hear you. Second round, Mutari Kenya condom, first round, you know, studio and you don't know, maybe then you get it. That was our mentality. That's why I'm not surprised when they say Jacob Zuma said I took a shower. You've never washed after a condom break. You've never went to the tap and washed.
I've never washed it. Washed the dinky.
That's what you used to do. Like, you know, I tell you the condom because there are some people tolerate tape, you know, man. Yeah, you know what? You go to the shower, you know, but it doesn't help.
That's prevention.
I mean, you do whatever. Desperate man catches a straw. You do whatever.
Or a disease.
Yeah, you know, those days, you know, you can't trust nowadays, you know.
But before you leave, man, because you used to handle some rough matters, no?
Yeah, I did. When you do civil practice, you're going to come across it's personal injury.
So that payout, the biggest yet, which is like
500 million.
Swedish guy.
Which went to a Swedish guy. What was his take on that?
Yeah, Swedish.
I can't remember what was I've never followed. I just heard what it's 500 million. But with Rev Matters, what I know is that they pay in different segments. For an example, the injury itself, it has its own money. Let's say maybe you've amputated. There's case law that will determine that for amputation, maybe it's $1 million or whatever. So-and-so was paid 20 or maybe 1 million or 2 million in 2018. You take into account the prices index and, you know, with the value of that, it's this amount. And then you go to the major one. You go to loss of income. Because you're going to look, they say he was a businessman.
Yes.
A filthy rich businessman.
Yeah, because
on holiday in Cape Town. So
yeah, because
it's a billionaire.
Yeah, it's a billionaire. Because you're going to look now how this accident or injuries that is sustained affecting
your life.
Yeah, it's affected his past loss of income. Since the injuries, he can no longer work. He lost so much because had he not been in an injury, He would have made up so much. And then going in future up to his retirement, he's going to lose so much because now he was operating maybe at 100%. He now operates at 20%. Or he's in a vegetative state. He can no longer work. It's a total loss. Then you make a billionaire. A year, most billionaires a year, you find that he make 90 million.
Yeah.
Maybe. Then you start calculating. Let's say he's 40. They will calculate his years. They say anticipated retirement, it's 65 years. Then they'll say, okay, a year he makes maybe 50 million times the years up to retirement. And then obviously the judge is going to say, okay, fine, certain deductions, because you cannot, be 100%, but you'll be along those lines. And then medical expenses as well, they'll also have to pay for going forward. It's going to need attention. So it can reach that depending on what you were doing. But some of them, you find that people are colluding. Because Rev itself, you must blame it because there are matters where you can see there are no injuries. These injuries, they don't have much impact in spite of what the experts are saying because they can bring a psychologist, they can bring a neuro, whatever, and say this guy is mentally disturbed. But you find that the lawyers, some of them who are claiming, they will be talking to the claim handlers at RAF. The same as with, I think they were accusing the Gauteng NPA of colluding with criminals. People will come up with unlawful arrest. And maybe the price is quite high. Maybe deal with the chief prosecutor and all that. And then it gives you the money and somebody says, you know what, give him a cut. So people were doing that. Of which they must also check themselves, monitor their stuff. Because it's easy, to say, you know what, we'll make this a settlement. And some, they go to court. The judge has to decide. But yeah, so that's how people make money.
No, that's crazy, man. Braik, thank you so much for coming through, man. I see you started a podcast.
Yes.
TikTok now.
TikTok, it's just they keep on banning me about Facebook and all that. So that's why.
Because of the views.
Yeah, but the podcast, look, I'm not really a podcast guy, to be honest. It's my nephew said, and they'll be continuing. I'll take a break a bit. It's Life with Ike, but they'll still be continuing because there are certain things that that I'm not a podcast guy, and there are people who are good at that. So I was also assisting them. But the podcast will still be continuing, but they'll have a new face.
What do you think about the evolution of media in this country? Because I'm sure from the 80s
it is quite good
to where we are now. It's crazy.
It's quite good what has happened now, even with the culture of the record labels, the media. Because back in the days, there was a monopoly. I mean, if you are Gwashoba now, you are in it all, or you needed to go past a certain guy somewhere in Auckland Park, Gauteng. If this guy says yes, nowadays you can upload, on YouTube, and overnight you become a sensation. Yes, you become popular, even in the media space. The monopoly is no longer like before. So the social media has also killed that celebrity thing. That's why most celebrities, they are angry. That's why they'll say any nincompoop with the mic can speak. Because they want to be the only ones who are speaking.
And the influences of the celebrities now.
Yeah, now, the influence, it went to, a man in the street. And then like the record producers now, they can no longer have that monopoly of, sleeping with all the girls. Like in the entertainment industry. Yeah, and even in we had producers that we knew, that writing plays, every woman must pass through them. Even on TV, they must pass through them. So it's good, it's open. I mean, even us, I remember back in the days when the industry started to open a bit, but it was public pressure because the public complained and said the models can't be all skinny, they must have fat people, chubby people and all that. And some of us, those days I was skinny. And sometimes we'll go to audition, but no, we don't need, a good-looking person. We just need a guy who looks like a guy in the taxi rank. So it opened the industry. Though some of us lost out, which is like, bad, but it's good in a way. Like, look now, Mafia and all these guys, they would have gone to a record label and the record label turned them down or say, no, yes. But now they just mushroom, from anywhere. And then they've gone international, which is good. So I'm welcoming the media space is opening. I hope, even it goes to sports, soccer and all that. You cannot have a monopoly of clubs. One thing that I don't understand with soccer clubs is the same with agencies. Why do I need an agency that they must book me to audition and all that, if you know me? Same with clubs. I mean, tell me, if, for an example, Tikomdise plays for Pirates, He wanna goes to Sundowns. Why do I need a Mike Makap, an agent, who's gonna chow my money forever? Can't he go directly to Sundowns and say, no, my contract has ended here. I'm independent. I understand there are legalities.
Surely you can.
There are legalities but now they want an agent. They want to speak to an agent. Fine. The space of an agent, you hire a lawyer with legal wise. You say, listen, read this contract for 2 hours. I pay you. From there, we part ways. I go there. And then nobody who comes every month and say, pay me your money. When it comes to endorsement, you've got a brother. Give him a phone, for endorsement. Crash course, like these Americans. Imali buyele edladleni. Wena nje ubamba phone ukuthi mfethu abantu baka Vodacom bakufona. Bathini? Okay, fine. Na contract asiyele lawyeni. Okay, mfethu, how much you charge per hour? Read this. What does it say? It's fine. Power up. Here's your 5,000, 10,000 gone.
Yeah.
We take all the money.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like that.
That's
your
it,
agent
bro.
should be.
Yeah.
There are those guys told your agent is your wife, your brother. I think unlike somebody's managing you is in America, you're playing soccer here, then you cry after. So it should be that way. And unless if you want to play in Europe, you don't have contacts. That it makes sense. Go say, man, can you please speak to Liverpool? I'll give you a cut, maybe 5% or 10%. But here locally, if you are non-vet, you play for Chiefs, you want to go to Swallows, you say, speak to my agent. That is nonsensical. That's where the money is lost. So people must speak for themselves.
Bro,
Yes.
I've got 2 questions or 3, I don't know.
Yeah.
First, you said earlier on that when you see these billionaire guys on podcasts, just know that they are sent, right? And then there's somebody else who's there who's thinking, you are an advocate, you earn well, you don't need to be on podcasts telling the truth.
Why?
Why are you doing it, bro? And also, how does that affect your business? Because, if I need someone to represent me, I'm definitely not coming to you because, you're on the podcast with me and Mac, just saying shit and real shit, what you believe in, which I love. But why do it, bro? Your life is good. It's sorted. Why do it?
It's not good all the time. Sometimes I do struggle. As a black person, there are things that you cannot escape. And there are things that they've become culture. You can make money. Even when you eat Ultramel, you'll cut the box and the container and lick it. Even when you do...
That's for nostalgia. Not because you need it. It's for nostalgia.
When you do Colgate, you're going to press it until it's done. And there was one attorney one day, he said to me, how am I going to brief you? Because you're on TV. I was still doing ads, because I told my agent then, he says, no, I just want to do cameo roles, and then do cameo roles. And some part, I remember I acted in one soap, I think it was Ashes to Ashes. The directors, because I've got opinions, and they didn't show me because they used 3 cameras. I will be killing the part, and they show me from the back. Then I was so upset, because each time they show me my part, they show me from the back, and people can't see me, So there are some people, especially women. Women, they take it personal, especially black attorneys. When they see me, some of them in court, they say, and I know some of them, they can't brief me, but I'm telling the truth. And I normally say this, black women, they say I hate black women. I don't hate black women. Black women, they are very unique species.
Amazing.
They... Especially now in the whole culture, we are in the whole culture. They harbor wretchedness. I normally say that. They encourage it. They give it terms. When you correct them, the whole culture, they encourage it. If you say don't do this, they'll say you're toxic masculinity, misogyny. Tena as guys, I will never with my younger brother and go rob a bank because I know both of us can die and it's a big loss to my parents if you all die in the same sin. But women can be 4 sisters and be fucked by Nigerians, all of them. And they even use the younger one because he's still fresh, to sell it to
they
Nigerians.
Even recruit some.
And they even recruit, and then they don't tell the younger ones. Because you know what? I experienced this. I had a child when I was young and it was bad. Guys do that. Don't try it. You'll go to jail. They're going to abuse you in jail. But women don't do that. Keep watch on me. You deserve better. You know your worth. And I call
your
those
body.
things.
If I had your body, I'd make millions.
Because I grew up in that culture. When, a shame was in fashion. When you saw a funeral procession, you took off your hat as an adult, you sat down. You know, when values, good values, unfortunately now we are trapped, because you adopted these Western values. Now, when you're growing up, there are certain things that you don't make jokes on. You don't laugh about rape. You don't laugh about poverty, parents. You don't laugh about the struggles, but now it has become fashionable. And then I grew up in that era when women didn't drink. I bump into another woman, in the morning she drinks golden dry gin. The Tloa fellow was saying, we used to clean shoes, got it dry gin. So, I miss those old values, and when you talk like me, he's misogynistic, That's why in the past, I used to love colored women because I still do, but I think now they're also adopting the black culture and influence, and because they were loyal, they'll die for you. But, with our sisters, they'll encourage all the nonsense that is happening, And with white community, show me an Indian community, an equivalent of Zoto Abantu. Show me an equivalent of Kanyimbao in the Jewish family.
Kim Kardashian.
Listen, if there's Kim Kardashian, it's one Kim Kardashian in 10 years and they frown upon.
Yeah,
and
they
then
don't
it's
like
isolated.
it.
They don't like it.
And
you'll be there and you'll be worshipped by black stars, if there's Marilyn Monroe, we'll spend time being a slut there. But them, they'll never elevate you to prominence. They'll never invite you to political gatherings and be seen with in public. They'll do maybe they're only fans somewhere in the hidden dangers. But with us, we celebrate all these bad role models. They become our stars. They become our leaders. The more naked you become, the more famous you become. And what's the next level? To have sex in public. That's what is happening. So, and we've got kids. And our kids now, they follow this role model. What am I going to say? Because they watch TV, they want to be like Beyonce. All the DJs have to be naked. All the DJs are naked now. They're wearing they are naked. All DJs are naked. Are you selling music or are you selling palms? And they don't tell these little kids. Some of them, they've been fucked by these ice boys like Boket Matala, Bo Brian Mufkot. Most of them, they all these sorties. And then they present this beautiful version, which, we are hustling, we're selling endorsements. And Instagram. I know entertainment industry don't pay that much. And then New York, France, private jet, it doesn't pay that much entertainment industry, South Africa. It's these guys, who are looting monies. And then after all, they want to kill you, like Bonabo Cat. If they told girls, you know what? Yeah, this is what we do. We are prostitutes. So, yeah.
And the guy said, I'm a criminal.
Yeah, right now it's prostitution, and the repercussions, they linger on forever.
Yeah.
And then later on, you want to settle, you want any guy, another simp must come somewhere. And the Tsatsa vendor, they like that.
Joke on Twitter. There's a joke on Twitter about vendor guys saving. There's a joke on Twitter about vendor guys saving the girls.
No, vendor guys.
I'm like, shit, man.
I'm telling you, I don't know the statistics. I think vendor guys are the most educated in the country.
Yeah.
These guys are educated and they don't mind, but they play an important role, in the animal kingdom.
But
they're lions and hyenas. The hyenas, they come and clean up the industry. Otherwise, what would you be? But vendor guys in Limpopo, they could cover all the, caucus. There'll be this woman who's hot. All of a sudden, all the guys they've had her. Then she disappears. They say, okay, Lirat, okay, Bomba, okay. Well, I'm fit to value now. She's a
vendor somewhere. She's a vendor now.
Yeah, she's in vendor now. And then she retires that side. But him 2 seats out here, whatever.
You said that ANC's fate was pretty much sealed when your John Dubes and Solomon Blackies were wearing suits going to England, right? Who was really meant and going to liberate South Africans and prosper us? Who should we have voted for? Because to me, it sounds like everybody's fucked, bro. Because to me, you sound so good speaking here, but it feels like if you were given power and 10 billion for your family, you would also fuck us all over in this room.
I've been with these guys. I've danced and partied with them in their houses. They always ask me, Ike, what is it that you want? But I'm sad, I said, I just want to work for myself. Even if they gave me money, it comes with terms and conditions. Some people, you cannot corrupt Mega Chelet, because from childhood, I used to sell Stadium. Some of the money is because my parents would ask me, I'll give it to my friends. There are people who love money. I need money. There are people who love money. I loved women. You know, I just wanted women. You know, there's a movie. I think this guy, he wears a clown, a mask. He says, some people just want to see the world explode. I mean, I was that guy even in the streets, you know. Some guys, they'll be maybe, you know, robbing, you know, delivering and all that. I mean, I want to see it burn. I was asking, where's the matches? As my comrades. So I need money to survive, you know, normally. And I don't think that you can confuse me, Gachalete. I've seen many people. I've been in a room twice, Patrice Motsepe. I think Bill Gates can pass here. I will not ask $1 million and not ask a cent. I've got pride. I've got too much pride. I've got too much pride that I need to fend for myself. I think last week, there was this guy, I think I was with DJ Spoo. There was this guy, I didn't know him, he's a billionaire. I just said, you know, I'm happy to see you, I'm humbled, I want nothing from you, but I'm just impressed the way you do your job. But other people would want the phone number and all that. I'm not a nice boy, I cannot run behind another man. So I've got that pride. But what I'm trying to say, they wanted to be incorporated. The problem that we have in South Africa, it is the system. Even if you brought Jesus Christ to come and be a president, the system is corrupt. You'll depend on his generosity, you know, but you cannot guarantee it because it is the system. Any person that you vote is going to go to England and bow to the king because this country belongs, you know, to all these
they made the
powers.
kings do that, yeah.
Yeah, even Malema, you vote him today, he becomes a president, he'll go to the king in England and bow down and take orders. You know, all of them, because we're indebted to these guys, go to Wall Street or else, you know. So it is the system. Maybe if we change the system, you know, we govern ourselves. But this country belongs to these multinationals, the globalists who are telling us what to do. Unfortunately, nothing will change.
So in 1994, no one could have saved us to be in a better place in 2025.
1994, Azapo did not go for elections. PAC kept on saying, we need the land. Some of us, you know, we adopted, I think 1992, we adopted the armed struggle because I jumped from ANC to PAC. We adopted literally. We started to disarm the police. It was that era, Sabelo Palm. You know, when you say it's going to be the year of the great storm. I know an AK-47. I've held an AK-47. You know, we've hijacked, you know, the police. We've hijacked white people because we're trying to oppose the Codesa consensus, saying this is going to betray our aspirations because it was sponsored by the same Zionist mafias, the open hammers. It is not our consensus. I know George Soros, when he came in the late 80s to Newtown, selling the new South Africa dream, how it was going to be. That's why I've never voted. Since 1994, I've never voted because I understood very well that I'm voting for a puppet who's going to go to Wall Street, you know, and it's not going to change much. So, unfortunately, we're defeated because Mandela was the Michael Jackson, you know, and then they made him a Sarafina. The struggle is not Sarafina, but we started seeing one man like Rambo, you know, being pushed. And then,
one man.
And the hype was too much. You could not stand that. And Mandela won. Those who believe in the new South Africa. That thing that they planted in 1912, the clever blacks were incorporated. They started to get all the tenders. And majority of the people, it's a pipe dream. So that's where we find ourselves. So I'm happy that I've never participated directly in voting for my own oppression because I knew that the IMF is going to dominate us, the World Bank is going to dominate us, the WTO, that's where we are going, you know.
And I think we got to do this again. And I think we should do it with the audience, man. That would be sick.
The audience, they have no man.
Reich is amazing.
No, it was great coming here. And I didn't think that you'll call me so soon. And I'm not, how should I put it? I have never met a person who intimidates me. Even when I was still playing soccer, I was good. I play with left. I wanna home left. If you list out Ronaldo, Klaumaka good dribble. So, but I was nervous coming here.
What? No way, Brian. Come on.
No.
For real, Brian.
You can't trap nothing.
No, it's fine.
Not the trap guys, man.
No, I don't trust you. No, but that's how good you are, the two of you. And it's like you're setting each other, you know. Yeah, but you must also, no, it's fine.
No problem. Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much for coming through, man. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Brian.
Do it again. We need to do it again, man. Gotta do it again.
Hey, man, we out here podcasting chill. Boom. Thank you.
Welcome to Black Excellence. Do not fear, for if you do, just sip on some grandeur. And if you still do, ask ourselves, what would Mapapunzi do? Phakama chilla, ixesha lifiki. Ungoyiki, even when they ask you, awusabi yini? Do not fear. For if you do, just say, Anisteve. This is the medicine of censorship. This is the pill. Which one is that one? Podcast and chill.